Sup, folks? How's everyone doing? Just real quick, how does this sound? Because I was having some mic issues, which is why it was taking me so long. And all I can hear is like a little sound in the back of my head. I don't know if you guys can hear it or if it's just me. Let's make sure everything sounds normal. Sounds normal. Sounds good. Sounds good. I will pray. Yes, I will pray. Sounds good from what you can tell. Okay, so it's just me that can hear that. We'll see how the guests sound when they come in. I need an amp for my mic. That's the issue. Because I got to literally crank the whole way. Because I took away my soundboard. I was using my soundboard as an amp, but it was taking up too much space on the desk. There's no room for activities. So we had to get rid of that. And then, I almost spilled my coffee. How's everyone say? Hope everyone's having a good morning. See, I need more space for activities on this. Or need to learn how to drink left-handed, one of the two. I got so much space on my left, but not my right. Okay. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you for all that you've given. I ask that you allow the Holy Spirit to move through us and to ultimately guide us into truth, but better yet, guide those that don't know you into the understanding of who you are. Lord, I ask that you use the people in this live to help grow your kingdom. Allow the Holy Spirit to move through us in a way that we do not do anything outside of what you would consider good and outside of obedience towards you. Allow him to correct us. In Jesus' name, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, hallelujah. Let's get into it. Today's topic is Muslim Monday. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. If you want to join the conversation, you can click the multi-guest button or you can click the link pinned in the chat. Both are great options to join. I max volume on PC. Is it too quiet? No, I didn't see a clip you posted of me. Tag me or send it on the Discord. I mix up the cross sign all the time just to mess with you guys. What was I going to say? Yeah, anyways, it's good? Okay, cool. I see ADD brain just scattered me. I wonder if I do this. It'll fix my little annoying sound. You tagged me? Where did you tag me? And how did you tag me? Guys, I need your help for multiple reasons. First reason is we're switching to day lives. Yeah, sure, I can debate them. So we're doing day lives. So I need your help. So you got to make sure you smash the like button, sharing, to help grow the new day live audience. If we're losing night live people. And secondly, my main account on TikTok was banned, and it won't be coming back until camera's blurry. I can fix that. Won't be coming back until Wednesday, and because it won't be coming back till Wednesday, I'm using my backup account. So I need you guys, if you're watching on TikTok, to be smashing the like button, sharing the live to make sure we get out to people. Because algorithms and whatnot, I haven't built up this account like I had the other one built up. So I need your help to do that. If not, it's going to be for a boring live. It's going to be for a boring live, which is perfectly fine by me. Because, oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. My voice is gone because we did a tournament on Saturday. So I was yelling at a lot of kids and I lost. You tagged me in the title. I lost my voice. I'll have a look real quick. Let's see. Mentions. Oh yeah, LA Apologetics mentioned you. Atheists are so happy, John.
It logically follows that you just pick the things that are right and you ignore the things that are wrong. No, I believe in what's called true authorship.
Oh yeah, this guy was so angry. That guy was so angry. I'll have to watch it later. Thank you for posting. Voice sounds fine. It's because I'm really struggling right now to get it out. What's better for ground defense, BJJ or wrestling? Depends. Depends on what your goals are. If you're talking strictly self-defense, wrestling, because you don't want to go to the grounds. Greetings from Canada. I am in Canada. Yeah, you don't want to go to the grounds. So you want better wrestling. But if you want like to be the most deadliest person in the world, jiu-jitsu. Because with jiu-jitsu, you can do damage. Well, you could do damage in wrestling too, but what's up, Divine? You could do both. Yeah, I'd say both are good, but sport jiu-jitsu not for self-defense because it's like, oh, I'm going to sit on my butt and I'm going to scoot towards you and hopefully you don't kick me in the face. Mobby John so I could post the link. I don't know. Do I know you well enough yet to mod you? Yeah, well, I take the Jet Li stand. Jet Li, or is it Bruce Lee stance? Boxing and wrestling. You get those two things, you'd be great for self-defense. Those two things are self-defense 101. I don't know who Libiano is. Muay Thai is great too. Kicking not so good for self-defense because you can get your leg taken down. Can I mod? I thought you were already a mod. Aren't you a mod on the main account? I didn't know he passed. When did that happen? Catching me live finally. What's up, bro? Guys, smash the like button, share the live so we can get out to those who need to be getting out to. Again, we had the account banned, so that's going to hold us back. Is this a Christian channel? I am a Christian, and this is a channel. I don't know if this is a Christian channel. We could you figure that one out yourself. What if you just want to what? That's not a good reason. You shouldn't just do things because you just want to. If you guys want to join the conversation, you can join by clicking the link pinned in the chat or by multi-guest button. This morning or yesterday, Phil, I think is his name. What? Hello, I wanted to ask, how can God be a man, or do you believe that Jesus is the Son? Well, God isn't man. God took on flesh. Those are two different things. I'll mod for Bear GL 2.0, One Way Apologetics, Stevens. I don't know who those people are. You can vouch. I don't know who you are. I mean, I probably know who you guys are, but one, I'm bad with names, and two, I never see your guys' faces. Oh, Phil, he passed away. First I'm hearing of it. It hurts every time I try to kick higher. I want to learn kickboxing to improve my training effectiveness. Well, you got to stretch more, bro. What caused the ban? Well, hate speech, apparently. It was hate speech. Love the fact that you don't disclose your church and let fruits do the talking for you. Thank you. A lot of people don't like that. Isn't religion supposed to be followed not according to strictly logical points since it's based on belief? No, that's not what belief means by any means. Is the account temp banned or permanent banned? It's temporary banned until Wednesday. Wednesday, I get my account back. How's the sleep been? I don't know. I feel kind of better. Like, listen, waking up is a chore. It's literally hell getting out of bed. But I feel like with the daytimes, introducing a little bit more coffee, I feel like the afternoons is a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know. My sleep has been a real struggle lately. Real struggle. Can you pray for me for whatever you think I need? I could. Probably not going to. Logic requires belief to a certain extent. Bro, your one-liners don't answer at all. Come up. Let's have a conversation. It's hard to get into the nuance when all I'm reading is other people's one-liners. Any literature I recommend from Jesus' life from age 12 to 30? Yeah, the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Start there and finish there. Saying logic is more important than faith is pretty heretical, honestly. Also, like, they're not dichotomies. How long am I going to stream this? We'll be on until about 3 hours. We'll do 3 hours today. Do I have any real Christian faith, or do I just thrive on being anti-Muslim? A little bit of both. Yeah, a little bit of both. I hope that's okay. Thoughts on possessions and exorcism. I think they're real. Real Christians don't waste their time with this nonsense. Oh, no true Scotsman fallacy? Is that it? I mean, Paul literally did it for a living. Are you going to say Paul's not a real Christian? Did they say anything about the reason why they banned you? Yeah, hate speech. That's what they said. And it was the pro-life debate. That was Wednesday. It was Wicca Wednesday. We were doing the pro-life debates. And I got banned for hate speech. Did I pin the link? Yeah. Link to join is right there. No one wants to join. Y'all don't like me anymore. Yeah, guys, if you want to join, click the link pinned in the chat. If you're watching on the shorts, you'll have to take a photo of it and copy and paste it. That's just how shorts work. I can't do anything about it. or you can join in the horizontals. I don't know what to call it. And you could just click the link there. But yeah, if you disagree with me, if you think there is a good reason to be a Muslim, come up. Can I give my new schedule? I got to update my calendar. We're doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tentatively, I'm probably going to change it so we're most likely going to switch to evenings in the weekend. We'll probably do a weekend live, but I like having my weekends. So I'm not sure about it yet. 12 to 1 Atlantic Standard Time to about 3 to 4 Atlantic Standard Time. Read your comment. Okay, I just did. I can convince you, bro. I challenge. Well, come up. Link is right there. Is the Bible the Word of God? It's the inspired Word of God. You don't want to be convinced. You just want to argue. Religion is a tool. Tool to control. Faith is a different thing. Correct. I don't want to be convinced. Correct. I do want to argue. Religion is not a tool to control. Who's using it to control people? And faith is a different thing. We'll define faith. Chill California came with 260 bits. Wow, that's the first donation I ever got on Twitch. Thank you. I get 72 virgins in heaven. I want my taco. Idolatry is not a good reason to sin or to be a Muslim. Sinning is not a good reason to be a Muslim. Where's the link? It's right there in the chat. Right there on the pinned comment. Should be there. Is it not showing up? Because it shows up on mine. Why am I doing this though? Like, what started this? I would do it for the. We do it for the money. That's why we do it here. Do you not see the white banner on the top of the chat? Okay, yeah, it is there. Link isn't working. Well, you're watching on Shorts. You can't just click the link. You gotta take a photo of it, copy and paste it. Shorts is weird. It doesn't let you click links. Can I get a mod maybe to try it out to make sure it is working? You don't have to chat with me, but just come in. Maybe I can see if it's working myself by joining myself. Little John Steele. Little John Steele. All right, join with microphone, allow, start. Yeah, it's working. Y'all just can't figure it out. There's no good reason to hate. Well, correct. Unless it's evil, you should hate evil. That's one thing you should do. Can I do flat earth? That's not really my topic. Kevo, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Kevo?
Yeah.
Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Papa.
I'm sorry? Kevo? All right, God bless. That was a thing. Isn't the evil the absence of good? Yes. You should hate the absence of good. 7 June, getting baptized. My whole family is still Muslim. I pray for them that they will come to Christ. Well, honestly, big ups to you. And also coming to Christ while you're in an Islamic family that's tough. That's tough. So big ups. Why does the origin of human life points to intentional design by a creator? It just does. Okay, he's back. Kevo? Oh, I forgot to enable my thing. That was my bad. That wasn't on him. That was on me. I'm still not live on his end. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, nice. I was helping you test the link. It's okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you too.
Bye. WR332 came in with $2. Says, take a 2 and call me in the morning. Happy Memorial. Take. Oh, I get it. I'm not going to call you in the morning, though, but happy Memorial Day to the United States people. Just open Quran for a few minutes. Again? I don't know where my Quran is. Oh, yeah, it's by the toilet. I'm not even joking. That's why I've been reading it. I'm not even joking. Because I'm like, the Quran is such a hard thing to read, and I got like this much left of it, and I'm like really struggling to finish it because it's so dull and dry. And so I force myself that every time I go use the washroom, I read a chapter of the Quran. That's what I've been doing to keep myself consistent. I'm not even doing that as a satire thing. It's just something I am doing. It is so repetitive. It is the same thing every single page. Allah is good. Allah does what he wants. Submit to Allah, and those who do not submit to Allah will be punished because he has no partners. Repeat, 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 repeat. Oh, here's a little nuanced way of saying it. Repeat, repeat. It's the same thing, chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter. Sup, modern brain? Just to let you know, God Logic 2. I know God Logic's other channel. Listen, it's y'all screaming that I should go live with God Logic. I sent out the invite. I'm just waiting for the response. That's it. That's all it is. If he don't want to go live with me, that's okay. That's okay. It's no hate. I still respect the man. I still think he's doing great work. Charlie Kirk will be proud. Why? He's actually like not the best apologist. Read my counter argument. I'm not going to argue with you if you're in the chat. If you want to argue with me, come up. Hey, dude, as a follower of Christ, I agree with the statement. Good. The Quran has unknown stories in its guide telling you a healthy way to live. Come convince me. You ever do topics on the Trinity? Kind of. Like, it's part of doing the other topics. Did I watch Jordan Peterson's Jubilee? Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Jordan Peterson. You know, okay, here's the thing. It was one Christian versus 25 atheists. And after 4 hours of being live, they switched it to Jordan Peterson versus 25 atheists. They switched the title because, guess what? Jordan Peterson is the worst representation for Christian. He literally said live, I didn't say I was a Christian. I didn't say I was anything. You're putting me in that corner. Bro. If you're going to get a man to defend Christianity, get somebody who's at least going to say, I'm a Christian. The worst person you could have ever picked to be a representation for Christianity. Christian thinks his religion is the real thing. You've been in this chat before, haven't you? You're commenting like it's the first time you've ever seen it. Crazy rage. It is crazy rage bait. How's Jordan's fault, bro? It is Jordan. Jordan Peterson went on a video that was titled 25 atheists versus one Christian. And then he wasn't willing to say that he was a Christian. Jordan Peterson. I love Jordan Peterson. Love him to pieces. I think when it comes to psychology, the best. You can't get better than that. Apologetics, the worst. The absolute worst. Bro admitted some crazy wild things there. And just got smoked on every turn. On every turn. I have no idea why he did that. Why he did that. Guys, Q is open. Q is open. Come on. I agree, this is boring. Q is open. So are you gonna open your chat? It is open. Click the link. Buddy is doing this for clout? Yes. Yeah, 100%. Why do I think there's no good reason to be a Muslim? Because nobody has given an inductive or deductive argument or evidential argument for why there is a good reason to be a Muslim. I've never heard one. Never seen any evidence for it whatsoever. Can't you believe? Can't you let people believe what they want to, no matter the views? Sure. Yeah. Okay. If you stay consistent, you let serial killers believe what they want to believe. You let P3DOs believe what they want to believe. You let Nazis believe what they want to believe. You let the KKK believe what they want to believe. Yeah. You go ahead. Go ahead. Just let people believe what they want to believe, right? Bishop Barron versus 20 atheists. That would have been good. I think Trent Horn. It was his choice. Not because Trent Horn's the best apologist. I think Trent Horn's the choice simply because Trent Horn is so good with social media. He knows enough in apologetics. He knows enough in debate that he would be able to argue with anybody and hold his ground. But he also knows enough about social media that he could do it in short sentences without having to go on or getting caught. And I don't think there's anybody there who would have gotten Trent Horn. Trent Horn, in my opinion, John Gold, I was on Jubilee and I got smoked. So I can't even talk shit because like I went on Jubilee and I got smoked. But yeah, Trent Horn, I think would have been the choice for the Christian side of things, but he would have defended specifically Catholicism. That's the thing. Yeah, no, totally way. John, you did fine. Everybody keeps saying that, but I know I didn't. Because I know my argumentation and I know what I forgot in my argumentation and I know where I messed up and I know what I studied and I know what I completely blanked on. So I know that I didn't do fine. Hey, do you think Jesus would like the way I was acting right now? Probably. Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't do it if I think he'd be opposed to it. Still waiting for someone to come up, guys. A lot of keyboard warriors today. Not many people coming up in the queue. Chat is on fire, though. Inspiring philosophy is a good choice, too. I just don't think... well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, IP just would have been a good choice. Yeah, I'm going to take that back. If I had to pick between the two, I think Trent would have been able to simplify it a little bit more than IP does. David Wood would be... I wouldn't pick David Wood. I'd go David Wood versus 25 Muslims. Let's do that. David Wood versus 25 Muslims. Yes. Wes Huff? No. Wes Huff is a scholar. He'll debate certain points and certain topics, but I don't think he's the best apologist for like that kind of debate. There's a big difference between being good in scholarship and good in debate. You can be a really good debater and not know anything. That's a fact. Racist? What's racist? Sam Shamoon versus 100 heretics. I don't know if Sam Shamoon's got the clout to do the middle. The problem is the guy in the middle has to have enough clout to get clicks, right? That's the thing. Cliff Knechtle, or Knechtle, or however you say his name. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He would have got smoked. If Cliff would again, I know those guys. I know those atheists that were in that circle. I know quite a few of them. I've talked to them personally. And this topic is going to blow up, bro. We'll see. I appreciate the $2. I know them personally, and they would have absolutely destroyed Cliff. Like they would have sent Cliff walking home with a limp. Yeah, Cliff's great. I love Cliff. I love what he does. He's a great evangelist, great preacher. I think he's phenomenal at what he does. I do not think that is his platform. I don't know what's happening today. This is really weird. We got lots of people being keyboard warriors. We got nobody coming up in the queue. Not a soul. We got like 500 people watching right now and nobody wants to come up. Let's see actually how much we got watching. Yeah, we have literally 560 people watching and no one wants to come up. Explain that one to me. Just a lot of keyboard warriors. Your downfall needs to be studied. Actually, that's true. Yeah. I don't know what you'd learn from it, but I agree. They can't defend it. That's true. They can't defend it. Maybe I should switch it up to Muslims should be Christian. Maybe they'll come up. Word on Box came. Muslims don't know what atonement means, where it originated from, or how it's associated with Messiah. Call in and convince John otherwise. Jon, please. Jon. Jon is the name. But yes, thank you. How to join? There's a link that's pinned. Take that link, paste it in a thing, and then you join. That's it. It's actually really simple.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 25.
All right, bro.
Just
There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
I'm not a Muslim. I just wanted to ask, like, just want to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
I don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. So, like, just quick, like, how would you or like, what would you say to convince me? Because I don't believe he is the Messiah or God. So
Okay.
how would you
Santos came in with $4.99. Says I am the keyboard wearer. Insert Waluigi noise. And then MacDude came in with $1.99. I think it's time for diff in Islamic countries. I don't know what that meant. You said you're not Muslim.
Yeah, I'm not Muslim, but I just want to know.
So you'd have no problem saying that Muhammad's a false prophet then?
I'll say worse, but I don't want to get this live taken down.
You won't get taken
us.
down for that.
Yeah.
So you have no problem
have no
saying
reason.
I just said it. So like if I get
you want
taken
me to
down for
say
saying
it?
yeah.
Yeah, so Muhammad is he is a false prophet and a PDF file.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So do you trust the
I have to
Bible?
be careful. I only subscribe to the Old Testament. I don't subscribe to the New Testament.
Why?
Like my payment hasn't been updated yet for the New Testament.
Why do you trust the Old Testament but not the New Testament? There's more historical evidence for the New Testament than the Old.
Because I'm Jewish, so I don't believe in the New Testament.
You know, that's just dogmatic. I mean, I'm asking like what's the evidential reason why you'd accept one over the other?
Why? Because I see blatant contradiction between the old and the new.
Well, even if there was contradiction, why not accept the new over the old?
Because I have my own scriptures that I can choose over the new.
Yeah, but you're just saying what you believe, right? I want a reason why, because like there's more historical evidence for the New Testament than there is for the Old Testament. There's certain historical evidence
Right.
that we have for the Old Testament, like the tablet, the Moabite tablets, the Balaam tablets, the temples of Joshua.
The Omri Stele,
Yeah.
the Second Temple. Yeah.
But we have a ridiculous amount for the New Testament, right? No scholar contested Jesus existed, that he's crucified under Pontius Pilate. We discovered the baths of Bathsheba,
Jews also believe
or
that as well.
Bethesda, sorry, through the New Testament. Sorry, what'd you say?
No, I'm saying Jews also believe Jesus was crucified, and there's also Jewish corroborating evidence for like his existence and his death.
Yeah. So why would you disregard? Why would you disregard? Like, if you believe that he was crucified, why don't you believe he resurrected?
So I can believe he resurrected, but the main dilemma that I have is that the prophecies are yet to be fulfilled to what the Old Testament proclaims.
Yeah, Jesus
all that
partially
prophecy.
fulfilled, right? He's going to come back again.
That's my issue. That's you've basically sum up the whole 2 years of like Jewish and Christians polemics is that you've just said partial, but we want a whole. We're not like
Yeah, but
that's
you
not
don't
sufficient.
you don't get to decide what God does, right? You don't get to put him in a box. You want it whole. That doesn't mean that God is going to give it to you whole.
I mean, the Old Testament doesn't have any sort of like two steps here, half and half, 25% here, 75% there, 9% here, 21% here. The Old Testament doesn't really have such a. But
That's a verbatim fallacy.
No, it's not.
MacDude came in $4.99. Said I was trying to say why there's no callers is due to time difference in Islamic countries, to where you are like not many Muslims online right now. Fair enough, MacDude. That's actually a good point. We'll probably get them more in the night. Maybe we'll have to go back to night lives.
I mean, I'm from Europe.
Yeah,
and it's,
but what you're saying though is like a verbatim fallacy. It's like I didn't see them specifically say it, so therefore he wouldn't do it that way. Well, why?
No.
Why couldn't God do it that way? Because Christians, because we believe there's two two comings of Christ, right? There's the suffering servant, which you see throughout the Old Testament. They're talking about the suffering servant.
Yeah,
Isaiah 53 would be like a good example of that. And then we have the conquering king. Well, we've got the suffering servant. When he comes back again, that will be as the conquering king. But he's not going to do that until Israel is ready to accept him.
Right, but I do believe that's based on the presupposition that Isaiah 53 or other verses is exclusive to the Messiah or
No.
solely for his.
No, I don't think it is. I think I think in Isaiah it's riddled with, of course, the nation of Israel being the servant, but then it also talks about the servant. For example, Isaiah 42, it says he will not break a weed, he will not call it in the wilderness, he will not raise his voice. This is talking specifically about the messianic figure that is going to come. So it's riddled with both. And I see Isaiah 53 seems to be very much about the messianic figure.
No, so I agree with Isaiah 42 if you want to argue for it to be the Messiah, because it says he'll bring justice to the Goyim. Right? And we know Goyim is like, not to be derogatory here, but it's not the Jews.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
it's
fully
us.
agree with
It's
you.
me. I'm the Goyim.
Right, and also Isaiah 49 says Israel will be a light to the nation, to the Goyim. That's also a messianic prophecy as well, right?
But
so I
but
don't disagree.
where I'm very confused though is that you said that you believe Jesus Christ resurrected.
Yeah, like
How did
I don't know,
he do that?
Right, Christians seems to have like this misconception that if a Jew somewhat accepts the narrative regarding his resurrection, like they believe like it just breaks Judaism. It doesn't.
Well, I didn't say it did break Judaism. I just asked a simple question.
No, but no.
Why do you believe he resurrected?
No, I'm saying some people. That wasn't targeted towards you because I said some people.
Yeah, but you still looking to get you to answer the question. Just real quick, Warrior came in with 50. I don't know what that is. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, with our likeness." Who does we refer to? The angels do not have power to create. I'd actually disagree with you on that. But anyways, go ahead.
No, so I just don't feel like it's a contradiction, because the Old Testament is like full of.
Right, but you're still not
people
answering the question. The question I'm asking again is, why do you believe he resurrected?
Oh, why? Because if you read Deuteronomy chapter 13, I believe this is a test and a warning and a test for the people.
So you think God resurrected Jesus to confuse people?
No, I never said God resurrected.
Okay, so again, why do you think Jesus resurrected?
Yeah, by the way, I never once said God resurrected.
Okay, then who resurrected Jesus?
Who? I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know his name.
Okay, so whoever this is has authority over life and death.
No.
Well, then how'd they resurrect a dead man?
Again, I don't want to go into like specifics, but the Old Testament doesn't have any issue against people doing stuff like that. It just doesn't. In fact, it warns people regarding people that have the ability to do stuff. It warns.
You're not
Israel.
answering that question. Who has authority over life and death?
It's obviously God has authority.
Okay, yeah. So if you go to 1 Samuel 2:6, right, says God has power over life and death. The fact that God gives life shouldn't surprise anyone. He is the maker of everything living. It is because of him, and he has life strength. Just real quick, World Unbox Fake Muslims in the chat if you don't call up. Yeah, so God has authority over life and death. Jesus died. Jesus said he was going to resurrect himself from the dead. And you say, hey, he did resurrect himself from the dead. What's going on here if he's not God?
I have no issue to believe that. Like I said, I have no issue.
You keep saying, but you're not explaining why you don't have an issue with it.
Right, because if you read Deuteronomy chapter 13, God warns someone. Sorry, God warns Israel to be careful of someone that says stuff and it comes to pass, and to be careful.
That's talking about a prophet. Just talk prophecy. Again, the question I asked you is who has authority over life and death? You agree it's God. You agree God has authority over life and death. And then Jesus showed his authority over life and death by raising other people from the dead and then raising himself from the dead. So who is Jesus? Paul Williams says Jesus did bring light and justice to the nations. Thank you, Paul. So yeah, who is Jesus if he has authority over life and death?
Who is Jesus? Like I said, he can. I have no issue in saying that.
Well, you keep saying you don't have an
Uh,
issue. I just want you to answer the question,
no,
though.
yeah. If I can finish, so in the Old Testament, there's like nothing contradictory within the Old Testament.
Okay, but you
To say
said that 6 times now, right? And then you say,
Yeah,
"Let me
yeah,
finish," but then you repeat the same thing. What the question I'm asking you?
yeah. Because
Who
waiting
is
for you to
Jesus?
address.
Hold on again. Who is Jesus if he has authority over life and death?
Again, I don't believe he resurrected. I'm just saying that
You
if you
literally
want
said
to
that.
argue,
You said that he did. I
no,
told,
I'm saying if you want to accept it, it's not contradictory to
that's not
my
what you said,
belief. So you
because originally I asked you,
if you want to accept it or not.
I said there's more historical evidence for the New Testament than there is the Old. And one of the things is that he's executed under Pontius Pilate. And the same amount of evidence says that he
Yes.
resurrected. And then you said, I have no problem with him resurrecting.
By the way, the only evidence for him resurrecting is
Well,
regarding Christians.
you're shifting the burden of proof. You originally said you had no problem with him resurrecting.
Yeah, no,
So now,
no.
are you changing that now?
I told you I have no issue. I am just clarifying the evidence that you brought up.
Okay, but
So
okay,
like,
if you have no issue with him resurrecting, who rose him from the dead?
so I can easily say it was God. I can easily say it was God. It's not a
Okay.
problem.
So God rose him from the dead after Jesus lied and said, I'm going to rise myself from the dead, right? So God was willing to raise a liar who spoke on God's name, on his own authority, and take glory from God and authority from God. And then he rose him from the dead to trick a whole bunch of Jews to do what?
Yes, because if you read Deuteronomy chapter 13,
Well, hold on.
I
I know what Deuteronomy says. To trick a whole bunch of Jews to do what?
To follow God that they haven't known.
To follow. So God lied to the Israelites.
No.
Okay, how didn't he? Because you said that he allowed Jesus to speak and take authority from God, and then he rose Jesus up from the dead because Jesus says, I will give you evidence. I will die and I will raise again. And what the Jews originally thought was that Jesus was talking about the original resurrection, because that's the traditional belief. And then he rose again and he showed the resurrection. So he gave them that evidence. And God did that for Jesus because he's the one who has authority over life. So God is the deceiver here.
No. I mean, I don't agree with your interpretation on the
Well, then
Old
you have to give
Testament.
me a counter argument. You can't just say no.
Right. The fact is that none of the prophecies from the Old Testament Jesus has fulfilled.
Right,
That's
that's
part
not a
one.
counter argument. That's a red herring.
No,
That's argument
right.
adjacent.
So if you can let me finish, it's actually surprising that if you let someone finish, you will get your answer. You know,
But you're not.
like
But I know you're not
20.
answering my question. You're addressing a different argument. You're doing an argument adjacent. So you need to actually address the argument I brought forward.
So the argument was that how could God allow it if it wasn't God?
No, my question for it is, how is God not the deceiver if God rose Jesus from the dead after Jesus claimed that he himself would rise him from the dead?
Yeah, so it's a test.
So God lied.
No, it's a test.
So he lied. Doesn't matter if it's a test. It's
of
under the
people to
guise of
do.
a lie. Paul Williams came in $2 says, why is he called Almighty God in Isaiah 9?
No, Isaiah 9. So one second,
It's just a super chat. I want to address the topic that's at hand. So God lied. Hello?
Yeah, sorry. I think somebody called me. So if you want to repeat what you said.
God lied.
God lied? No.
Okay, well, you need to explain
No.
how he didn't.
Right, because the reason why I don't believe God lied is because God put a test for the people to do.
That's a lie.
Now remember, I
If
don't
you
believe.
hold on, doesn't matter if it's a test. If God presents to you something that's not the truth, that's a lie.
No,
Because
it's
he's
a
allowing
test.
people to believe that Jesus rose himself from the dead. Because Jesus says, I'm going to rise myself from the dead. But Jesus didn't. God did it for him so that people would be confused and tricked and then go follow Jesus. This is your argument. So God is using deception,
Right.
using a lie to draw people away from him.
If you wish to word it like that, then
But how
then
else do you
fine.
word it?
Like I said, God puts a test for the people.
Well, it could be a
And it's
test,
up
but
to
it's fine. I can concede
no,
it's a test, but it's still a lie.
fine. So the people were right because it says in the Old Testament that it's not up to the heavens to decide.
Okay, well,
So it's up
so
to the
then,
people
but then you have an issue
on
because the Old
here.
Testament says that God is not a man that he should lie.
Right. So right.
Right. So which one is it? Is he a liar or is he not?
God is not a liar.
But you just conceded that he lied for a test. To
No,
test the Israelites, he lied.
if you want to take that interpretation, then it's fine. But I don't hold
But
to your.
you're not giving me a different interpretation. You're just saying no.
No, I'm telling you the fact that God puts a test out for the people, and His way is not our way.
By lying.
So I have no because because God says in Isaiah that His way is not our way.
Okay,
So I have
well,
an issue with
I'm
that.
gonna move on because at this point you're just strictly appealing to dogma and not actually making an argument. But I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you
I'm
coming up.
appealing to Scripture.
I'm sorry.
So what prophecies do you have regarding Jesus then?
I'm
I
moving.
wish.
I'm moving on, bro. But I appreciate your time. God bless.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. The Funson. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I am 19.
All right, bro. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Yeah, I just wanted to help out with some stuff because I realized something that made it so people couldn't join the live. You need to close the poll to see the link. I found out that's on computer and on a tablet.
Oh.
Also, this person praised the Omnicia. They're going to be pretty interesting. So after me, I want you to pick them because they have some pretty weird stuff to say.
Okay.
They believe in some kind of machine god. So I'll see you.
All right, man. God bless. Thank you. All right, close the poll. Do the poll, and then you'll see the link. Praise the Omnicia. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Yeah, hello. Wait, what was the question?
How old are you?
I'm 18.
All right, there is no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not here to talk about like Muslim. The name of your stream is your stream is named "Convince Me to Leave Christianity." So I feel like I am here to talk about it.
Sure, it's a slow day, so we'll allow it today.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Sorry, I just want to address a quick comment real quick. Somebody says, doesn't Christianity say to respect other religions? No, quite the contrary. It says the opposite. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so I am a part of a very niche religion. I don't know, maybe I'm the only believer in it, maybe like some people also believe in it, but basically it's a belief that there is a machine, basically that all technology came from one singular god. Its name is the machine god. It's not really creative, but so all technology came from him or from it, and yeah, it has a like mortal incarnation called the Omnissiah. Like no one has found it yet, and we also believe that machines have spirits.
Yeah, I played Warhammer.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, like yeah, okay. So yeah, to be honest, the only proof I have for my religion being true is that I had a computer that would like shut down constantly, and when I prayed to the machine spirit of the computer, it would work. And so because of that,
bro, I know I can smell it. I can smell a troll. I can smell a troll a million miles away, bro. This is a clear troll. I mean, it's a good troll, like Warhammer 40K, you know, the Adeptus Mechanicus, like it's good. Pick a religion that's really weird and out of place, and like use that for a troll. Like I give you A+, for the work.
I cannot hear you.
Kyle Burr came in with came with $5. Says no way this dude is taking references from Warhammer 40k. Praise God, Emperor. This guy's a troll, by the way. Obvious troll. Obvious troll. Like 10 out of 10 trolling though. Like,
I mean, I don't feel like I'm trolling, to be honest. Sometimes I actually like pray to the machine god, but you know.
yeah.
But
do you play
yeah,
Warhammer?
but
You play Warhammer, right?
yeah.
Yeah. It's correlation versus
Yeah, really
causation.
big fan,
and
you know.
Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate your time, man. 10 out of 10 troll. But I'm gonna jump on to somebody who's taking it serious. But appreciate you.
Yeah,
God
okay.
bless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny because it's like lately, I've never played the Warhammer tabletop, but I'm really into the Warhammer universe right now. So like on my off time, I listen to a lot of Warhammer podcasts and like a Warhammer audiobooks on my off time. So I've been really into Warhammer lately. And I'm looking forward to the new CRPG that's coming out for Warhammer. I think that's going to be pretty dope. Virtuality. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hello,
Hello,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Like, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm 18.
All right. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong.
Virgin.
When to taco.
Okay. I'm not a Muslim actually. I'm a Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I feel like all religions have a purpose, and their whole purpose is to just follow good morals and just be a good person.
Okay.
So
So
it doesn't matter which religion you pick.
okay, cool. In Islam, it teaches you that you can marry a child. Is that good?
One second. This religion is like centuries old, correct?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you take like previous morals, like back then they were saying women should be stoned to
No, no.
death and
They
stuff
they
like
still
that.
they still
Obviously,
think
nowadays, if you follow that,
they still think you can marry a child. It's a common thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
is
don't
is
like
that a good
people
thing?
who, are obsessed with religion. No, obviously not.
Is that a
Obviously, when
good
it
thing?
comes to
It's
people
not.
who
So
are
it's
obsessed
not
with
a
religion,
good thing, right? Yeah. So if it's not a good
that is
thing, then
correct. I agree
yeah,
with you on that
cool.
part.
Okay, and then
No,
in
wait,
Islam,
I have a point
hold
though.
on. I got a logical conclusion I want to come to. So it's a bad thing that you should marry children.
Sure.
Islam also states that Muhammad was perfect and never sinned, but it also states that he married a child. So for me to be a Muslim, I have to accept the dichotomy, right? I have to accept that it's bad to marry children, but Muhammad never did anything bad.
That's true.
This creates a paradox. So should I be Muslim?
Should I? Like, what? What did you ask the last part? Should I?
Should I be Muslim? Is like
You asked something like,
yeah. So there's a paradox. I think it's
okay,
bad to marry children.
can I?
But if I want to be Muslim, I have to accept that
That's
Muhammad never
true.
did anything bad, but he married a child. So
Okay.
that creates a conundrum, creates a
Can I
paradox.
give my point now?
Yeah. But can you answer the question?
Can I give my point now?
But if you
Yeah,
answer the
okay.
question, you got to answer the question
I
first.
think you made some really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's my turn. Can I answer or?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you made some really good points, and I agree with you for majority of it. But my question is, like, if that's the case, then why are there millions of Muslims? There are also some good things, right?
Some
No
good
religion
things
is
is not a
perfect. Every
reason.
religion has some weird rules.
Yeah. So having some good things is not a reason to
I'm
hold to something or say that it's all something that should be
I'm not
accepted.
defending it. Okay, I'm not defending their old rules which make it seem like they're pedophiles. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not a Muslim either, and I'm not like a religious person.
You said
Me
all.
personally,
Hold on.
I don't like people.
You said all religions are good and they all have a reason and a purpose.
Majority of it. There are some questionable rules here and there, but you shouldn't follow them. Not because it's not that you should follow them because they belong to the religion. It's because of the morals, whether they're good or not. You should believe whether or not some of the religions
Right.
have good morals.
So basically what you're saying is pick and choose the religion and make your own.
Like, how do I say this? When you pray, like people pray, right?
People
In
pray.
general,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But that's what, when people pray, they get this sort of hope. It doesn't matter which religion they belong to. Now, I'm not defending their past, like, I'm not defending the flaws
Right.
of those
But I feel like
religion.
you kind of,
Obviously,
I
those
feel
things
like
are
you just,
bad.
I feel like you ignored what I said though. You saying pick and choose the parts of the religion you like and make your own religion.
That kinda. Don't
Yeah.
be like too
Well,
obsessed
so
with like
right.
one single religion
So
is
then
what
you're
I'm trying to
so
say.
then you just disagreed with yourself when you said all religions are good and all have their purpose, because you just said now you have to
No,
disregard the
like
parts that are bad in those
each
religions and
religion.
pick then you and pick the parts that are good out of it. So they're all not good, right? They
Wait,
have good
this is what I'm
aspects to
trying to
them.
say. Like, wait, this is what I'm trying to say. There are numerous amount of religions.
Somebody said bro felt what counts as a fall off, because my main TikTok account got
Each
banned,
things.
but we got what 500 people watching on the YouTube. So I think yeah, if that's a fall off, I'm okay with it. Sorry, you're cutting in and out, bro.
Like, did you try to get my point?
No, you cut out.
Hello?
Yeah, you're cutting out, bro.
Am I audible?
You're audible, yeah, but you
Okay.
got to repeat what you
But
said.
wait, should I just chat this point? Just let me chat this point.
What point? Okay, all right, man. God bless. Thank you for coming up. Guys, if you want to join the conversation, depends on what you're watching. You're either going to click the link pin in the chat, you're going to copy and paste the link pin in the chat. It's going to be behind the poll if there's a poll up, or you click the multi-guest button, depending on where you're watching. River Run. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm 23.
All right, bro. There's no
Um,
good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong when a taco.
okay, so I have 2 points of disagreement. The
Okay.
first one is with the way the statement is worded. The fact that there is no good reason to be Muslim differs from your basis, which is that there is no inductive or deductive reason to be a Muslim.
Mhm.
So I want to challenge you on both of those. The
Okay.
first one is that on the point of there is no deductive or inductive reason to be a Muslim, there can still be good reasons to be a Muslim. For example, people can choose to be a Muslim because it deepens their morality, because it intunes them with their culture, etc. Obviously, if they do bad things or do immoral things or really practice the bad parts of Islam, then suppose that's a net bad to the world. But I just don't think, obviously, you're sensationalizing the statement, there is no good reason to be Muslim. That does not equate to there is no inductive or deductive reason to be Muslim. There are good
Yeah,
reasons to do
I still
things
don't think
based
there's
on.
any good reason. You haven't given one. You're just kind of going on a bit of a tangent. Isaiah Winger came in with $2. Says, John, I have to I have school. Go back to night stream. Sorry, bro. I need some sleep. So so what is your argument? What is a good reason to be a Muslim?
I mean, I think if you don't hurt anyone, and it deepens your faith, your cultural connection, net positive, that's a good reason to be a Muslim.
Well, you're assuming that's a net
Um,
positive, right? If it's assuming a falsehood, right, and you're engaging in something that's actually not true and engaged under lies and associated with the negative outcome,
all
then
right.
you shouldn't be a part of it. Because the
Okay.
net positives that you're associating with Islam, you can adopt without taking on the Islamic belief.
I see. So you think that it needs to be grounded in truth for it to be a good reason?
Yes.
Okay. I just do not think that any religion has a deductive or inductive reason to believe in it. So you think
Yeah.
that Christianity does, right? What's the
Yeah.
basis for that?
Yeah. So I'd say the evidential reason. So for example, we have arguments like the argument for motion. We have the contingency argument, we have the fine tuning arguments, and then we have the evidential arguments of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the historic reportage model. Things like this would point to good arguments to believe in Christianity.
All right. So I was actually from a Catholic grade school, Catholic college. I learned
So
the five
what you're
ways.
doing now is called shifting the burden. So you're
No,
goalpost shifting. The original topic is there's no good reason to be a Muslim, but instead of
indeed.
addressing that topic, you're doing a red herring and focusing on Christianity. It's whataboutism.
No, no, because well, the stream is titled "Convince Me to Leave Christianity." What I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
is
just the
that if
generic
you
title of the
demand
show.
okay, if you demand a deductive or inductive reason for any religion to be a good reason to join, then there is none. So
I just
if you
gave
want to
you
say that
some.
Yeah, so we can discuss them. So the first one, if you're talking about Aquinas' 5 ways, that prove the existence of a God. So it would prove potentially deism, right? That there is a creator,
It
because
would, it
there
would
needs to
affirm
be a
theism,
mover.
because that
Okay,
God that in
theism.
the five ways is being all loving, omnipotent, omnipresent God. Deism isn't, it doesn't have those properties. This would be theism.
Okay, theism. So the
Mhm.
5 ways supposedly points to theism. Now, where it gets muddy is when you talk about the evidential reasons for the resurrection.
I don't think that's money.
Actually, it
Again,
only has.
you're shifting the burden. So you could disagree with the premises, you can disagree with the inductive or deductive conclusions, right? You could say that. You could say, "Hey, I disagree with it. I don't think this is logically sound, but I'm still giving a logical reason to be a Christian. I'm waiting for a logical reason to be a Muslim."
Oh yeah, I mean there are evidential reasons to be a Muslim, right? Like there's
Like
evidence
what?
that Muhammad existed, etc. But all you're
Muhammad
proving is
existed,
that
sure.
Jesus existed. There's
No.
actually no evidential proof for the resurrection.
Okay,
It
what is the
barely even
evidence?
meets
What
the.
is the evidence that Jesus existed?
Oh, there is evidence that
What
Jesus
is it?
existed. It's the eyewitness testimony. It's the
Okay.
records.
So the same
It's
eyewitness
the
testimony
records of
says
the
he
execution.
resurrected. So why do you believe one and not the other?
Oh, because the testimony of the resurrection is much less corroborated than the evidence for him existing.
The
And his
same
being
evidence that
executed.
says that he existed is the same evidence that says he resurrected. Why do you believe one over the other?
No, because not as many people corroborated that they saw Jesus walking around after. So if you're talking about
Yes.
that the people wrote the Gospels, that's 4 people. You need at least 100
That's
people.
no, no.
Eyewitness
There's
testimony.
21 eyewitnesses. There's 4 people that
Okay,
made that
21.
wrote it down.
Sure, 21
And
eyewitnesses.
that's just the Gospels, right? You also have the epistles that would also be written down, and then you have the extra biblical texts that corroborate that's something that you would expect to see of Jesus Christ resurrected. So once again, I just want to point out to the chat. Nobody has ever made a good argument for Islam. The only thing that anybody ever does is point to Christianity and go, "What about Islam?" I just want to make that very clear to the chat as we go into this argument for Christianity.
This is not a whataboutism.
It really is. It literally is.
People,
You're saying there is no good argument for Islam, but what about Christianity? That's literally what you're doing.
I'm saying that all religions do not have enough evidential reasons.
That is
to believe them
whataboutism.
to the letter.
That is whataboutism.
No, I mean I'm saying okay, sure. Well, what I'm saying is that if you are to be logically consistent, you cannot say that there is no good reason to be a Muslim, but there is a good reason to be a Christian.
Okay, provide me similar evidence for Islam that I just presented for Christianity.
What you're proving to me is that Jesus existed.
You
don't want to debate me
you
about
can't do that.
corroborating
You can't
the
do that.
resurrection.
You cannot provide similar evidence that I just presented for Christianity that is also in Islam.
I can. I mean,
Okay, do
the
it.
Bible acknowledges the origins of Islam, the church, the records that Ishmael, etc., Muhammad, all of these people existed. There's just as many eyewitnesses.
People
that
existing
say that
isn't
these people-
anything. I agree, Muhammad
Exactly.
existed.
Well, that's the extent of the proof that Jesus existed. There's not actual proof
because
of
the same
resurrection.
evidence that
Don't wanna
says Jesus
debate it.
Christ existed is the same evidence that says he resurrected. You haven't
No, it is
refuted
not.
that.
There is
Yes, it
more than
is.
100 people who know that Jesus was born and that he was executed, but not that he was resurrected. 21 eyewitnesses does not meet the minimum requirement for
Where do you
fact, which is
determine the
100
minimum?
eyewitnesses.
Hold on. Where did you come to this conclusion? You need 100 eyewitnesses to get a
That's
historical fact.
That's historians use that as the
Which
bare
historian?
minimum.
Name one historian, because as far as I know, all you need is 1 or 2. So where did you get 100?
No,
Can you quote me an
obviously you don't
historian
need
that
one
says
or
that?
two. That's why in court you
Can
don't
you
even
quote me an
use the word of
historian
one
that says you
eyewitness.
need 100?
I mean, that's just the basis. Like,
Can
I
you
don't know,
give
it's been-
me a quote that says that that's the basis is actually true? You're just stating it has to be 100. Where do you come to that conclusion?
I mean, that was the basis for.
That's 3
Like-
times you said it's just the basis. Give me the source.
Okay. Okay, here. Online. 1900, French psychologist Albert Binet, William Stern, Muntzberg. I don't know. I don't know why this matters. The point is.
Because you're lying. That's why it matters.
I'm not lying.
Because this is not the historical criteria. Because if you need 100 witnesses to get a historical fact, literally nothing in history is true. You can't name a single thing in history
exactly.
that's true.
A lot of ancient history is disputed. As
So
a
you're
result.
you're
Like
going
the
to say
first
Napoleon
dynasty in
Bonaparte didn't
France-
exist?
Oh no, that had enough physical evidence.
Okay, give me 100
Not
eyewitnesses to
enough.
Napoleon
Oh
Bonaparte.
yeah, definitely. Yes.
Go ahead. Give me 100 witnesses to Napoleon Bonaparte. Go ahead.
bro, like just the number of books alone, the people who've written that,
You're
the
just
number of
vaguely
soldiers that
referencing the
survived,
ether. You're just vaguely
the,
referencing the
the
ether.
number of
Give me
people that
100
survived the
documents.
battles and that lived in France. This is
Give them
recent
to
history.
me.
There
Give
are
them to me.
photographs. There is
There's a photograph of Napoleon Bonaparte.
there there are.
Did you just say there's a photograph of Napoleon Bonaparte?
Yeah, is there not?
Show me a photograph
Anyway,
of Napoleon.
the
Go
point is,
ahead.
like, the degree of evidence, physical evidence for Napoleon Bonaparte is incomparable to the physical evidence.
You
needed to
have
prove
it. You're
religion.
all you've done
And
is
that
make
excludes-
claims. All you've done is make claims and have showed no evidence. Show me the photograph of Napoleon.
The burden is on you to show.
You're the
proof.
one making the claims right now.
You're the one claiming that.
I'm not making
Christianity has a
claims.
much
You're making
stronger
claims. You're making
basis.
claims that you need 100 people as evidence to make something a historical fact. You haven't quoted a single historian that says that. Then you said that there's over 100 witnesses for Napoleon Bonaparte. You haven't even given me one witness. Then you said there's literal photograph of Napoleon Bonaparte. You haven't shown me the photo. You're the one making claims, and you have no evidence.
If we want to make this an evidence off, we could totally do that. Probably need more time. What I'm telling you though is if
that you don't
wanna
have
believe
any
the
evidence.
Evidential point. Okay. Let's say Jesus did resurrect. The point is that there's not enough evidential basis, for example, to scientific standards. to
So now
prove
you're
that something
shifting. Now you're
happened.
shifting the type
or
of evidence
religion.
to empirical.
I'm not. I mean,
That's
it's
literally
because
what the
you do not
scientific
want to
method is
engage on
empirical.
The fact that evidential is not enough.
It is enough. You're giving ad hoc and arbitrary standards that don't fit anything else. You said you have to have 100 eyewitnesses for history to be true. That's not true,
Okay.
because then if that was the case, nothing in history would be true. We don't have 100.
Okay.
We don't have 100 written documents from
So
witnesses
what
of
about
World
the
War II. Hold on. Hold on. Let me finish. We don't have 100 written documents from witnesses of World War II. If we
Yes, you
do,
do.
prove me wrong. Show me.
Yes, you do. World War II? Okay, that's a time where there were actual photographs.
Yes, but we do
That's
not
what-
have 100 documents from witnesses.
Yes, you do.
Show me.
There were over 20 million people who died in World War II.
Yes.
You're saying that there's not 100 documents of people who
Show
lived?
me 100 individual eyewitness testimony towards World War II. Go ahead.
Oh, I would love to. I
right.
just don't have file sharing here.
All you got to do is cite me
If
the
you invite
sources.
me on your show, I would love to do this.
You're on the
I mean, yeah,
show.
okay, 100 textbooks about
No.
World War II.
Not 100 textbooks. 100 individual eyewitness testimony that was written down from World War II.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, eyewitness accounts of Japanese brutality during the forced march of American prisoners into captivity. From raising the flag at Iwo Jima, eyewitness testimony. More than 20 authoritative testimonies about decisive battles in the European and Pacific theaters of war.
No.
Like, if you want to see all
Give
of
me
the-
100 individual eyewitness testimony. You're saying these people witnessed it. That's not individual eyewitness testimony. That was the original claim.
Yeah, there are bro, like all documentaries are made based on eyewitness testimonies of soldiers who survived. Up until the 2000s.
So
there was more
100.
than
Okay,
100.
I feel like you're really missing the point. 100 documents, all written by 100 individual people. Each one of those 100 individual people were witnesses of World War II.
Yes.
Okay.
You want me to name names for me to prove that it exists?
Yes.
If you gave me 20 minutes, I could research it and show you. The point is, you can't do that for Christianity. And that's
Because
not
you
bad
have
thing.
because you're inventing an ad hoc arbitrary standard that no historian holds to.
I'm pretty sure they do hold to. I would
Name
love
a
to
single
present
historian.
them.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
I
I will PayPal you $20 if you can quote a historian that says that you need over 100 eyewitness testimony for a historical fact to be true.
Okay. One sec. Montsberg. Okay, he was talking about the fallibility of eyewitness testimony. U.S. Supreme Court's concerning suggestive eyewitness identification. Well, okay. Of course, I could find this if you gave me enough time. But I
I'll
feel
give you
like
as
we're
much
reaching
time
an
as you want. I will
impasse.
sit here and wait. Go ahead. Caleb, are you the educated guest? Come up. I don't pick and choose who comes up. People just join. Oh, guys, I found out
Okay.
last. Oh, okay, go ahead.
So Simon Greenleaf was one of the first people who floated the idea. He was a Harvard law professor,
He's not an
and he
historian.
was actually
He
I
just
mean,
admitted he's not an historian.
no, he's a law professor and legal scholar by trade,
Yeah, he's
but
not an
he is widely
historian.
known for debating religious historical accuracy. He basically believed directly it was impossible that the apostles could have persisted in affirming the truths they had narrated had not Jesus actually
Right, that's
risen
not
from
what
the
I
dead.
asked you to find. You're shifting the burden. You were supposed to find a historian that said, and I quote, that you need 100 eyewitness testimony for something to be an historical fact.
Yeah, I am. I mean, his work was all about this.
Show me the quote where he says that. And he's not even a historian.
All right.
Liam came with a
So
$2, says, report the stream. Nobody likes philosophy majors. You reported the stream because you don't like philosophy? I'm not even a philosophy major.
So Christopher Browning is
Okay.
a historian who deals with Holocaust history,
Okay.
particularly Holocaust denial,
Okay.
right? He right had to deal with people telling him that there is not enough corroborated eyewitness testimony about it,
Mm-hmm.
which is why he collated hundreds of
Okay.
testimonies and said with these 100 testimonies it is undeniable compared to dozens
Okay.
to piece together the actions of ordinary German men involved in the Holocaust, etc.
Okay. So
I don't know
where
what
does he say
this
you need 100 for something to be historically true? Where does he say that? Simply
that was
saying I
part of
have
the
100 doesn't say.
no, because people kept raising the bar for him, and justifiably so. Because obviously, if you don't have
You
that
think
many
they were
eyewitness
you think people were justified in denying the Holocaust until he had 100 documents? So if you concede right now that there is no historian that says that you need 100 documents or 100 eyewitness, and then you can finally make an argument that you believe that you need 100 eyewitnesses.
Sure thing.
So there's no historian that says that.
I guess it's not verbatim, no.
There's
I
not
just
even
think
there's
that it
not
has
even
to be a higher
referenced. It's
number.
not even vague.
All right. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So Jay Games came in with $1.09. Islam will rule the world. They are the Antichrist. Now, if you're making the claim that you need 100 documents from individual eyewitness testimony to believe something historically true, do you believe Julius Caesar existed? Do you believe Gaius Caesar existed? Do you believe that Homer existed from Homer's Iliad? Do you believe the life of Plutarch? Do you believe Plutarch existed? Do you believe Napoleon Bonaparte existed? Do you believe Abraham Lincoln existed? Because I guarantee you're not going to find 100 individual eyewitness testimony on those people.
Well, some of them you can, but I don't think Homer existed, and that's just a sad reality. There is
Okay,
much
you
less.
don't believe Homer existed. What about the rest?
The point is that the further back in history
not the
you go,
point.
it is
Answer
much
the
harder to
question.
find deductive or inductive
Answer the
reasoning
question.
that something is.
Answer the question.
Okay, I'll answer the question.
Okay.
Lots
you
of
be-
those people exist.
Why do you believe they
Uh,
existed? You said you need 100,
Because there actually
100
is a lot
individual.
of testimony for them.
You said you need 100 for anything to be historical fact.
All right. So you're trying to get me on the 100 thing. If I
That's because
concede
that's
that
what you
it's not
said.
100. Okay, my bad. It's not 100.
It's not.
The point is that there is not enough deductive or inductive evidence to prove that all elements of Christianity are true.
There's not
Because
an
a
amount.
substantial amount of it is faith.
There's not an amount
there's
of
nothing
inductive
under it.
evidence. That's not how that works.
Your basis for why there's no good reason to believe in Islam
Or sorry,
is
deductive.
because there's no deductive reasoning.
There is no inductive or deductive reasoning for a Muslim. Now, can you give me one?
I don't think that there is substantial enough for any religion.
Right. So you're just whataboutism.
That's
So
just
so
general
you so hold on. The topic here is there's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong, when taco. You admit there is no good reason to be a Muslim.
You didn't want to debate my basis, which is that there are good reasons
What,
to be a
read the
Muslim
screen.
that
Read the
do
screen.
not-
What does it say?
Okay. I think
What
there are
what does
good
it say on the
reasons to be a
screen?
Muslim. Yeah, there is
Okay.
no good reason to be a Muslim.
Okay, then what are the good reasons to be a Muslim?
As long as you're not hurting anybody when how you practice the religion. as
That's
long
not a
as
good
you're
reason
open
to be something.
Reinterpretation. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
What if it does good in the world?
Is it
why
is it a
not
good is it a good reason for me to be an upside down tree because it doesn't hurt anybody?
If there's a net positive in the world, yes.
Say it's no net positive, no net negative. Is it a good reason?
No. But there is a
Okay,
net
so
positive.
just saying just simply stating it doesn't hurt anybody isn't a good reason to do something, correct?
Yeah. So okay,
Great.
so there needs
Great.
to
So
be a
what
net
is the
positive.
reason to be a Muslim?
If you are a net positive in the world because of being a Muslim.
That's very
then it's a
vague.
good
Give me
thing.
an actual net positive.
If you struggle to find morality, but Islam leads you towards morality, then that's a good reason to be a Muslim.
Can you find that
And yes.
morality without Islam?
Certain aspects of it, I don't think so.
Like what?
Just I think Islam is one of the most
You're not answering the question.
strict religions, and
Like
there is
what?
a point to that.
Like what? What can you not?
Because
What
there is
what
a level
aspects of
of
morality can
devotion.
you not find without Islam?
Because there's a level of devotion and conviction to a cause that you can only have when you adhere to as strict a code.
Like what?
What do you mean? Like there is no level of collectivism.
What
Any
what
religion
in
the world-
Islam? What do I need Islam to achieve that I cannot achieve without Islam?
A lot of people do not see hope in life. Okay, let's just start with that, the basic one. Hope. Some people do not see hope without Islam.
All right, so you cannot find hope without Islam? Is this your claim? Atheists in the chat, do you have hope? Christians in the chat, do you have hope? Hindus in
Oh,
the
yeah.
chat, do you have hope?
Wait. Some people cannot find hope. Every person is different. Some people can't have hope unless it's this religion.
I don't believe that
Okay.
because the evidence is to the contrary. There are billions of people in the world who have hope without Islam. So why would I believe that they
So
need
you
Islam
don't
to have
think
hope?
that utility is ever a good reason to believe in something?
If you can find the utility without the thing, you do not need the thing for the utility.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, you can technically get anything without Islam. It's just that so
Yeah,
many
so then
people
there is no good reason to be a
felt
Muslim.
hopeless without Islam. No, because it provides access to hope in a way
Can
that
you get
most
hope
people
without
cannot.
Islam?
I'm telling you that a lot of people cannot have access to hope without something like
Okay,
Islam.
prove that claim that they need Islam and there's no other way
Sure.
that they could get hope.
Yeah, if you're born in a certain part of the world, if the type of morality you need is finding purpose in your life and you unlock a unique level of like fulfillment
This
from
is very
Islam,
vague in reference. I'm asking for an actual argument on why you would require, like an essential thing, right? A necessary thing that Islam
Why
would have to
isn't-
be the property to give you those things, because you can get those
Okay.
things without Islam. Like
So
you
if
can
a
get, you can be,
politician-
so you gave an example of the strictness in Islam will make you more virtuous. You can be more strict in Buddhism. Buddhism is a stricter belief system and will give you higher levels of purpose if that's the case. So then
Yeah, but
Islam
there
is not
is a-
needed. You can be Buddhist.
Well, it depends which level of fulfillment you're going for, because they offer two different.
Well, then that's
forms of
arbitrary and
fulfillment.
ad hoc and subjective, and that's not good reason.
Okay, so you think that something needs to be the only way to achieve utility. That's the only time it's a good reason to subscribe to that thing. So if like a politician,
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Islam is not necessary for that utility. Therefore, there's not a good reason for it.
yeah,
Because
but
if
that's
I can
like
achieve that
saying that
utility without
there-
Islam, then I do not need Islam.
that's like saying there's no good reason to get a job because I can get money in other ways other than a job.
No, because the other ways I would achieve money without getting a job would be in the realms of illegality.
Oh, so it's legality.
Well, no, I'd be doing net negative. I would be doing immoral acts to achieve the goal of having money.
Sure, that's okay. So then there's no good reason to be a lawyer because you can make money being a doctor.
No, because people need representation in law, and lawyers is the practice of representation in law.
Perfect. I'm pretty sure there is a niche purpose that Islam serves for certain
What?
people. Okay, so if you look at Buddhism, right, it's stricter. Islam is strict, but with a sense of community.
Buddhism has community. They all live in temples together.
Yeah, but there's no level of connection to
You
the
can
point
get you
of
can
which
get just as much
Buddhism is a
strictness
very
and community in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym.
All right. So your standard is that if you can get it in another way, you're really set on that. If you can get it in another way, I just don't know why it's not a good reason.
It's
which
not
is
a good
like
reason. It's just
the
it's
most
arbitrary and ad
accessible to
hoc.
No, the most accessible way to find fulfillment and morality for some people is Islam, and for some people
That's
it's
vague.
Christianity, and that's why I think it's great for both.
That's vague. You're just stating that it's the
I don't
most
know why
accessible way.
that's-
Is it the most accessible way?
I don't think that's.
And you shouldn't
I mean,
you shouldn't
if-
believe false things. Like you shouldn't hold on to false things to achieve some sort of utilitarian point of view. I shouldn't believe in negative truths, right? Simply to achieve an act of community. So I shouldn't believe that it was a good thing that Muhammad slept with a child so I can have community,
Okay.
right?
So you think that the burden of truth is really all it comes back to, right? It's
Well, that-
basically if it's false, you shouldn't believe.
Do you think people should believe false things?
I think as long as you don't hurt anyone, you should. But if
Yeah,
we're
that's
talking
a
about
stupid belief.
everything needs to be true, I don't know why.
Okay, cool. I am a rainbow. I am actually a rainbow, and I am the one who controls all helicopters in the world. I believe that. That doesn't hurt anybody. Am I believing a good
genuinely
thing?
the way that you find the most fulfillment, and of course you're just joking, but if that is genuinely the way that you find the most fulfillment, then sure.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's what he says. He says if you believe whatever you want, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, you've hit most fulfillment, and that's a good thing, and you should believe it. Got it.
So that's just ad hominem. The point is that
No,
there's
an
not
ad
enough
hominem
empirical-
would say an ad hominem. So if you're going to do fallacies, get it right. The ad hominem would say
empirical
what you're
evidence
saying is stupid
is
because you're
the-
stupid.
if you
Hold
really
on.
care,
If you're hold on. If you're going to accuse me, hold on. I'm going to finish what I'm saying. Right. If you're going to accuse me of a fallacy, get the fallacy right. An ad hom would be saying that what you said is stupid because you're stupid. That would be an ad hominem. Right. All I said is that you believe, and you said it. Right. You said you believe that it's perfectly fine if I think I'm a rainbow that controls helicopters as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. That's a good thing. Do you believe that? Did you say that?
The actual argument is that it's a good reason to become something if it genuinely leads to your greatest fulfillment and utility. But if you want to represent it with a stupid sounding example,
Okay.
you
Fine.
can't rebut
Fine.
it, then that's
Fine. If somebody finds the most fulfillment in being a serial unaliver, what's the problem with that?
Oh, that hurts people. That
So?
definitely no.
So?
Because that's a net negative for sure. Because you're taking away
So
other
what?
people's
They find most fulfillment
ability
in
to
that.
No, but you're taking away other people's ability to fulfill and self.
So what?
The point is that you should maximize people's fulfillment.
But
and
what
their
if somebody doesn't hold on? So you created a paradox here. What if
That's not a
somebody does
paradox.
not find fulfillment in having the maximal amount of other people's fulfillment? What if somebody's fulfillment is taking away other people's fulfillment?
Well, obviously that doesn't create the maximum amount of fulfillment for society.
Right. So then,
that's not-
so you have a paradox. Fulfillment is irrelevant
That's
because
not
if
a
somebody,
paradox.
it's a paradox. And I'm going to explain why. Because you're saying fulfillment is the thing that somebody should achieve the most of. But if somebody finds fulfillment in taking away others' fulfillment, they should not try to achieve it.
That's not paradoxical.
That's a
and This is why. Let
paradox.
me just say no.
Okay, go ahead.
It's because in society, people have rights, but at other people's rights,
What is a
their
right?
own rights end.
What is a right?
So if you have a right to
What is
self-determine, to
what is a
self-actualize.
right?
If you're taking, it's an inalienable good that people should all have access to.
An inalienable
Or
good
so.
that all people should have access to.
A right,
Where do
like
rights
you-
come from?
Your inherent value as a person, like your human
Inherent value. How do you determine that value? Where do rights come from? Who establishes
human
rights?
dignity, your personhood.
But you're just vaguely referencing what a right is. Where do they come from and who establishes them? And how do you get them?
By being a sentient person, you have a, where is this going? This is going further.
I'm
and
saying
further.
is that you're saying people have this arbitrary ad hoc idea of rights and you can't ground it in anything.
No, I think that people have an inherent value to them. It's intrinsic value. If you want to argue that that comes from a god, that's fine. I think there are secular ways to arrive at that. I don't
Okay,
think
then
that's
arrive at it.
affects. Yeah. So the secular reason why people have value is that you're sentient. You have the ability to perceive pain. You have the ability
Right.
to
This is
perceive suffering,
ad hoc.
and therefore, that is not ad hoc.
It is ad
Like-
hoc. If we all collectively agreed that nobody has rights, where would our rights come from?
I don't think it comes from a collective agreement. I think
Well, then
it
where does
comes
it come from?
People's sentience. The fact that
Well,
I'm
that's
not
ad
like an
hoc.
animal who does not perceive pain in a greater. No,
It's
this is
just ad hoc,
scientific.
bro.
Okay. Can I just say one uninterrupted statement? So, your burden for proof conveniently is only at evidential and not empirical, because conveniently,
Right. So you're just completely
Christianity
avoiding
has
the
the
topic
greatest-
and you're
and I finished
shifting.
my sentence.
No, you're shifting the goalpost, bro, because you know I got you in a corner.
I don't have you. You don't have me in a corner.
Well, then
because
stay
your
on
argument is
topic.
still that you need to believe in something that is true,
Yes.
and yet your bar for truth for Christianity is only evidential, because conveniently Christianity does have a lot of evidential arguments. But
You're
it does
saying it's an
not
issue that
have
I have evidence for
evidential-
Christianity?
but it does not have empirical arguments. And that
You
is
just
the
you
true
just
burden of
literally
proof.
said that my
Which
issue
is
with
why
Christianity
you
is that I
should
have
not
evidence.
Put religion up to truth, because all religion involves a
Right.
degree
All
of
right.
faith.
So you
Now,
just
if you want
completely
empirical
you
truth,
completely
that's
you
only
completely
science.
avoided the rights topic and shifted to something else completely because you
I'm
knew I
not
had you in a
avoiding the
corner.
rights topic.
I appreciate your
just don't
time, man. God
understand why
bless.
you
Have
can't
yourself
get
a
it.
great day.
It's a first.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Make sure you're smashing the like button, sharing the live, getting this out to the people that need to be get out to. TikTok, we have relatively low amount of people simply because my main account is banned. This is my backup account. So if you want to see more people on the TikTok queue, then you make sure that you're smashing like. Everybody on YouTube, you're doing a great job. Please make sure that you're sharing. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button yet, hit the like button. And also, if you want to support me, support my ministry, you can do so on Patreon. Links in the bio below, or you can also do through super chats or whatever. Let's bring Keith up. Keith, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Oh, I'm in my 30s. I'm doing all right.
Good, bro. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong, win a taco.
Yeah, so I didn't hear like everything that you said. So when you say good reason, are you using that in a narrow sense, or is that like a pretty broad understanding of good reason?
You know what? I was pretty narrow on the logical sense of what reason is. There is no logical reason to be Muslim. But after having further conversation, I'm starting to be convinced that there isn't even a broad sense of good reason to be Muslim.
Okay. And you said some things in that last conversation about like, what did you say? I posted a comment about it. Let me see here. That basically you shouldn't believe false things. You were having a little conversation about that, and I just wanted to like ask, do you agree that you can have good reasons to believe in false things?
Good reasons. Yeah, sure. There's good reasons that you could logically come into a conclusion of something that's false, but you shouldn't hold to things that are false when you know they're false, or there's no good reason to believe in that false thing.
Sure. Okay. So it sounds like what you're saying is like after you've been shown that something is false, you should no longer believe in it.
Or if you've never given like a good reason to believe in that false thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you think that even though Islam is false and it is possible to have good reasons for believing in false things, such reasons don't exist for Islam. Is that right?
I've yet to see it.
Okay. Um, and you're saying that this would be true for like every person. Like there's no good reasons for anybody to believe in Islam.
Yeah, seems to be that way.
Okay. Dude, I got to be honest. I hope I win because I'm hungry and a taco would be great right now.
Okay.
So, so what about children who are raised in Muslim societies who are just taught by their parents that Islam is true and maybe even have like a religious experience?
For what I'd question the religious experience, one, because I've spoken to
Oh,
many
okay.
Muslims, and part of their belief is that you shouldn't have religious experiences because that just doesn't happen. And I like, for example, I had a debate with a Muslim once where he was convinced that Satan worked within Christianity because Christians have had too much religious experiences. So therefore that religious experience has to come from Satan. So maybe they did, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But from every conversation I've had, that seems to be like a thing that Muslims don't believe. But as for being raised in the society, no, I don't think that's a good reason to hold to a belief. You should question the things that your parents believe you. Maybe as a child, sure, you just kind of take it arbitrarily. But once you're old enough to rationalize, you should question the beliefs that were taught to you and hold it to the fire.
Well, that was my question, though, right? Is whether there's good reasons for everybody, or if it was only for specific people.
Well,
So
if you're
now it
gonna
sounds
if you're
like
gonna arbitrarily ad hocly kind of hold it to children, well, yeah,
it's not ad hoc. I asked you the question to begin with whether you were applying it to everybody. So I was asking for your parameters for this conversation. I'm trying to get you to clarify who you're talking about.
Yeah, so a child is going to believe whatever they're told at any point. If that's the argument you're going to make,
No, I'm asking you to be clear about who you're talking about. So are you talking about a person who knows everything about Islam?
when somebody has the ability to ration, right, they should rationalize and come to good conclusions.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone would agree with that, right? But nobody investigates every single belief that they have, even rational people. And that doesn't mean that those beliefs that you have, you're not justified in holding to if you form them on a good basis, right?
Well, you just kind of gave a contradiction because you said you're not, even if you didn't find a justifiable reason to hold to them, as long as you found it on a good basis, right? It's finding it on a good basis is a justifiable reason.
So the example I'm giving is like, there's a lot of stuff that you learned as a child that you learned in what would be justification as a child. And then you grow up, became rational, I think is the way you're talking about it. You're not going to go back and systematically review every single belief that you formed as a child. Like nobody.
I think you should.
I mean, that's
and I think people
ridiculous.
should do that. Why?
Every single fact that you've ever heard about history would become suspect because you learned it.
Things that you hold to that have a great influence on your life. Absolutely. Things that are just kind of vague references. It's like, okay, I could believe it. I could take it or leave it type of thing. Sure. You don't have to challenge that.
So it sounds like what you're saying, though, is that you should, because being Muslim is so important for you, or it has such like grave consequences, that should prompt you to investigate it.
If something is influencing your life on a day-to-day basis, you should challenge your epistemology. Yes.
Sure. So, but this would be something that you would begin to do once you've become a rational adult, right?
Once you have the ability to rationalize, sure, yeah.
Right. So what you're doing is saying once you're a rational adult who has grown up with a justified belief in Islam, you should begin to investigate Islam and see whether it holds up.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, well, there's a time period there in which you are both a rational adult and justified in believing in Islam, because obviously
I don't think. Okay, so let me rephrase then. Let me rephrase then, because people want to do semantics and play the lawyer in the contract rather than focusing on the rhetoric. Let's play the lawyer in the contract. Okay, so children are not justified in the beliefs they had, but they're also not responsible for it. It's actually on the parents' responsibility. So it should have been the parents that took the due diligence to look into the information before passing it on to the children. So the children aren't justified in what they believe. They're also not responsible for what they believe. They're in this limbo, so to speak, until they become a rational being. They're simply extensions of what has been taught to them.
Okay, so children can't have justification for any of their beliefs. Is that what your claim is?
You don't hold children responsible for their belief sets. You hold the parents responsible.
Okay, I think that we're probably at an impasse here because I just disagree with you on what justification is.
Okay, so
I'm gonna-
what responsibility do you put upon children for their belief sets? Like what falls upon the child?
I mean, I think that it's probably hard to say exactly what justification is. I mean, there's like a huge debate on that, but I think it's just like I would point to particular instances that I would say constitute legitimate justification for a belief, and this would be things
you're
like
not giving.
reliable people in
Sorry,
your
go ahead.
life. Yeah, I was saying this would be like reliable people in your life telling you things, and you have a pattern of reliability with these people. I think that
Right,
constitutes
you're still not giving me an example where you hold children responsible for their belief sets.
So like if your parents tell you, hey, don't trust strangers, and then a stranger comes up and says, hey, would you like some candy as a child? I think that you have a responsibility to not trust them because you ought to trust your parents. You're justified in believing your
Okay,
parents.
fine. So if hold on. If parents taught their children to trust strangers, and any stranger that comes up to them, they should trust and follow, and then that stranger comes up and says, hey, want some candy, and kidnaps the child, is the child responsible for the action that took place?
So I think that that's probably a bad example because what you're describing.
It's the exact same
what you're
example that you
describing is
gave.
an unreliable parent, right? Like that.
It's
that
the
doesn't sound to me
sorry.
like
You just gave me the example that the parents said to them not to trust children.
Parent as a paradigmatic case of a
Right.
reliable.
You
person.
use that as, I'm sorry, you're inconsistent here. You use that as an example. You said if a parent
Of
teaches
a
them,
paradigmatic reliable person.
you said if a
What-
parent
what
teaches
you're
them, hold
describing.
on. You said if a parent teaches them to not trust strangers, the child is now responsible for not trusting strangers.
Why was I using a parent?
But if a parent teaches them to
You're
trust,
not
let me
listening.
finish,
You're-
please.
this
Let
is-
me
no,
finish,
this
please.
is a- This
You
is a straw
let me
man
finish. Let me finish, and then you can tell me how I strawmanned it. Because I'm steel manning your argument first. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to steel man it before I give my argument. So if you listen, your steel man was that if a parent teaches a child not to trust strangers, that child is now responsible for not trusting strangers.
I
It falls
disagree
upon
with
the
that.
child. Okay, how did I
disagree with
misrepresent your argument?
So what I was doing was I was giving a case of a paradigmatic, reliable person. I was saying, generally speaking, parents are reliable. We have a history according to which we trust them. And you said, well, what if a parent says you ought to trust strangers? And what I'm saying is that's not realistic. That's an unreliable parent. So I would
Okay,
not
so then
accept
my
that
question
as a
remains,
reliable
when
person.
does the burden fall upon the child that they are responsible for their belief sets?
So rather than use the word parent, insert paradigmatically reliable person and run the same example.
You're still not answering the question. When does it fall upon the child that the child is, in turn, solely responsible for their belief sets?
Solely responsible for their belief sets? Like,
The responsibility falls upon them because the decisions they make, right? We would hold them, we would put the consequences upon them for the decisions that they make.
yeah, sure. I don't know that I would say there's ever a time. I'd have to think about that. I don't know that I'd say there's ever a time when a person is solely responsible for their belief sets. Like, I mean, if you're just walking down the street and a guy tells you like, oh, don't go over there, like there's, you know, something bad happening and you could get hurt, and you believe him, and so you don't do something you're supposed to do, like, but it was a lie, like, oh, you're solely responsible because you believe a lie. No, he's responsible in part because he lied to you. It doesn't matter that you're a rational adult. Yeah, so I don't think there's ever a time when a person becomes solely responsible for their belief set, but I think that they can have some responsibility for the things that they believe.
Okay, so when do children have that same amount of responsibility that falls upon an adult?
That same amount of responsibility?
All right, I'm going to move on now. God bless. I asked the question 20 different ways, 20 different times. They still could not just answer the direct question. Right. Major, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, bro. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. When a taco.
Okay. Nigger, 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 nigger.
Muslim, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you?
I'm 26 years old.
All right, there is no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Can I tell you the reason I became a Muslim, and you can tell me whether you think that's a good reason or not? Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm born Chinese, and I came to England. I went to a boarding school, and the boarding school is Christian. In England, there is a law which states once a child gets to 16 years old, the teachers can take them to a pub, and then they can have a drink with a meal, basically. And then after that, I got addicted to alcohol, basically. So the
Okay.
reason I became a Muslim is because it's one of those religions that explicitly bans alcohol. And I think it really makes sense. And what it didn't make sense for me in Christianity is that it doesn't say anything about banning alcohol. And from my understanding,
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Fine. That's a bad reason to hold to Islam because you could go to Alcoholics Anonymous and achieve the same goal.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
I went and it didn't work because it doesn't tell you what
Okay.
alcohol really is. What is alcohol?
Poison.
So why do you drink it then? Why do Christians drink it?
What does that have to do with you?
Why
But
do
you said the
Christians
reason
drink?
that you became a Muslim is because they banned alcohol.
Yeah.
You can stop drinking alcohol without being a Muslim.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. I know
No,
many people who
I-
don't drink alcohol and are not Muslim.
But their children will. But their children will. Their children, if you're not explicitly taught alcohol is bad for you, would you want your children to drink alcohol? Go drink some alcohol now.
Yeah,
Tell
I'm
your
fine.
children to drink
I'm
alcohol.
fine with it if they want to. That's their decision.
Go on and tell your children to drink alcohol. Why
Would
not?
I tell a child? No, because the brain is still
Yeah,
developing.
go ahead. Go ahead. When your children gets addicted, tell them to go to alcohol supporting groups. Go.
I would. I would tell them that before becoming a Muslim.
Well, you won't, brother. You take some alcohol. Why aren't you drinking it now? Well, Jesus
Modern brain came in with $2. Says I don't drink. I'm Christian.
Yeah, but Jesus turned water into wine. So you wouldn't
Yes.
drink it. Even Jesus gave you wine. You wouldn't drink it.
I would drink the wine that Jesus
You're a
gave me.
hypocrite.
Yes.
You're a hypocrite.
I didn't say I didn't drink. I
You're a
drink.
hypocrite.
How am I a
You're a
hypocrite?
hypocrite.
How am I a
So why don't
hypocrite?
you drink then? So why don't you drink then?
I do drink.
Why don't you drink some more then? And tell everyone to drink. Tell everyone to drink.
Why don't
And
I
then
drink some more? Because the Bible strictly prohibits
When they get
drunkenness.
addicted, tell them to go to alcohol association if you think that's the way to
Where?
go.
How are you coming to these logical conclusions? Why is it that because I have a drink every now and then, that I have to drink until I'm drunk? How does that logically follow?
Because if you don't take alcohol at all, you can't get addicted to them. Would you agree that everyone who has
Okay.
problems with
Here's
alcohol-
the logic that you're using. Are you married?
No,
Okay. Do you plan on getting married?
no,
You plan on being celibate?
yeah.
You're gonna be celibate. Do you think everyone should be celibate?
If they have good reasons to be celibate.
But do you think the whole world should take up celibacy, or do you think it's a good thing that people get married?
It's a good thing that people get married.
Okay. Is it so when people get married, is it a good thing to have sex?
If it's consensual, of course. I don't.
Yeah,
want
absolutely,
anything.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
a good thing that they could participate in and do within the confines of a marriage and a relationship. But just because they participate
if
it
they-
with hold on, let me finish my argument. Just because hold on, let me finish my argument. Just because
If they
they
find it good.
hold on, let me finish my argument. Just
Let me-
because
I'm
hold
the
on, let
only
me
condition.
finish my argument.
Yeah.
Just because they participate in the confines of having sexual actions within the marriage in the way that it's supposed to be, doesn't logically follow that they should go out and sleep with everything, that they should start sleeping with goats and sleep with cows and sleep with children and all these types of things. Those would be wrong to do. So just like that, with alcohol, you could participate a little bit in alcohol. It doesn't mean that you have to go off and become an alcoholic and become addicted.
But you opened up the possibility.
When you have sex, you open up the possibility.
No, but
Yes.
but that's different, brother.
How's it different?
You know what?
Explain
you know-
the,
you
explain
know
the
what
symmetry
you-
breaker.
Well, if you have alcohol, so what was the
Mhm.
argument again? So if you have sex, you're gonna have sex with everyone.
No, that's your argument.
No, so when you claim that having some alcohol won't lead you to become an alcohol addict,
I know many people who have never become an alcoholic or an addict and participate in drinking every now and then. My wife, she has a drink every now and then. She has never once in her life been drunk.
Would you agree with me that every alcohol addict has tried alcohol?
Would you agree? Hold on. Would you agree with me that every P3DO and every sexual predator has tried sex?
No, you can have these intentions without having sex. You can have.
Well, how do they become a predator if they've never had sex?
Well, you can seek out. There's tons of people who've been caught being a virgin.
They could have the desire, but I'm talking about people who've done it. So people who've been grapers. How many grapers have not had sex?
You don't have to have sex to become a pedophile.
I'm talking about the acts. That is the rhetoric here. So let me rephrase then, so you guys can understand, because nobody actually wants to answer questions I'm actually asking.
No, but
how many serial grapers have had sex?
All of them.
Well, there you go. No one should ever have sex or get into marriage.
Oh, that's different.
Why?
Because sex isn't inherently bad.
Alcohol isn't inherently bad.
Alcohol is a carcinogen.
It's not inherently bad. Like if you have there are benefits. There are health. Oh my God, there are health benefits. Oh my God, let me speak.
It's not bad.
All right, watch this. Boom. All right, there are health benefits to having a glass of wine every single day. It's good for the heart. It's good for the body. Doesn't hurt you. There are health benefits to it. If you have a glass of wine a day, would cause no problems. It actually cause positives. All right, go ahead.
Do you want to know why that is?
I didn't hear you. I muted you because you weren't letting me speak.
Well, alcohol is 3% of Britain's GDP.
What's that have to do with anything we're saying?
So
Here we go. Hold on. How many fat people started with food? Enigma came in $1.09. Eating too much is gluttony, so you don't eat now. Yeah. So how many fat people have tried food?
All of them.
Oh, we should ban. Let's ban food. Let's ban food.
But food isn't bad.
How many people? How much of the United States is obese?
50%.
More than 50% is obese, right? Hold on, that's a huge epidemic. That's a problem. If it's such a big GDP on it, right? We should ban food.
Let's ban junk food. I have no problem with that.
No, we should ban all food. We should ban all food. Junk food doesn't make you fat. Food makes you fat.
You can't go obese on salad.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
You literally can. It's thermodynamics. If you have enough calories in, you can come obese. Tiki Tack came in with $10. I'm addicted to making money. I'm okay with that. Hey, appreciate you, bro. So let's ban food. Guys, anything that causes you to go down a path where it leads to your sin and things that you do that are wrong, we'll ban it. So you never even participate. If you're obese, we're going to ban food. If anybody out there has ever participated in sexual immorality, we're going to ban sex. Right? If anybody's ever gone on a dirt bike, jumped a dirt bike and did a backflip and fell off and got hurt, let's ban all dirt bikes. Hey, cars, every person who's been in a car accident had to drive a car. So let's ban all cars. This is your logic here.
No, but my logic, you haven't heard me, brother. You twisted my words. My logic is food and dirt bikes. These things have entertainment. They have use to us.
So does alcohol.
No, it doesn't.
Are you telling me it's not entertainment to drink alcohol?
It's a depressant. What is it? What is alcohol? It's a depressant. It depresses you.
That's not what a depressant means.
You can take other drugs, but not alcohol. Alcohol is the worst.
Okay, so hold on. We'll ban alcohol, but we'll endorse that stuff. I can't say it because we'll get banned. We'll endorse that.
Not that stuff.
Well, that's an upper. So they'll have fun. It's entertainment. That's your logic.
That's not my logic.
It is your logic because you said dirt bikes provide entertainment, even though you don't need to do backflips on dirt bikes. It would do nothing but everybody who's ever been in a dirt bike accident had to ride a dirt bike and try to do tricks on it, right? So we'll ban dirt bikes, but you say it's okay because it's entertainment. Well, okay, well, fine. Is entertainment, so we'll allow people to do that. It's an upper. It's fine. We'll allow them to do that.
Yeah, why not?
That's your logic. Why not? Why not let them do?
That's my logic.
all that stuff. That's your logic. Is you think okay? So your logic is let's ban alcohol because it's a depressant, but we'll let everybody do.
Yeah.
All right. God bless, man. LSTG. I've seen at white supremacist rally before. I've seen you at a white supremacist rally before. $1.99. Yeah. I was the guy running it. I was the main guy on the thing, taking in new recruits. You caught me. OMG macros. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 33.
All right, bro. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
A bit of a combination of the last couple of callers.
Sure.
Although they were not that great at like making their points or staying on topic. It's about the net gain for society for me. This is a thing about general religion. I'm myself not religious at all. For myself, have found that I don't need religion in any way in my life. But some people need guidance or want guidance in their life. And by following their religion, will achieve net positive for society that they wouldn't otherwise. You want to stay on Islam, I understand that. I am personally more acquainted with Christianity since I grew up Catholic, but no matter what kind of rule set you have, if you believe in a God that will punish you if you do bad things to others and good things and will reward you for doing good things to others, you will be a net positive if you actually do the stuff only because you believe.
Sure. So two things I want to point out here, and it's not on you, because I know you just see in the chat and you joined up. But for some reason, I think I've gone through all the Muslims, and I'm getting all the people who want to defend Islam now, who are just like, hey, let people be what they want to be. I don't know how that happened. But the second thing is, Islam actively teaches that you can marry children. Do you think that's a good thing?
No.
Okay. So do you think that people finding their own purpose, having to accept a religion that says that you can marry children, that they should do that?
I don't believe that every person following a religion follows every single aspect of that religion.
Okay, cool. So then they don't need the religion.
And it's not about the religion as a whole. It's about the parts of the religion they identify with.
Yeah, but then they don't need the religion.
I'm from a very Catholic background, and my grandma did stuff that, in theory, wouldn't be okay for Catholic people. But and she just disregarded those parts of the Bible or of teachings.
But then they don't need the religion, because you're stating that religion is the necessity. But if they reject the parts of the religion that they don't like and take the parts that they do like, then they do not need the necessity of the religion. They can simply adopt those practices without it.
If they could, I would agree with you.
Well, they can,
and I myself
they're
have found for myself that I can just take whatever teachings I like. My general thing is don't be an asshole. And that kind of works. I hope that kind of language is okay for YouTube and wherever else you stream. That kind of core belief that is present in most religions is good enough for me, and I don't need to take all the other stuff that is in religion.
Right, but you're proving that they don't need the religion, because if they simply can take the parts they like, then the religion is irrelevant.
The thing is that without the religion as a whole, even with the parts they don't believe in, don't follow or whatever, they wouldn't be exposed to the things they do take and then because of which are doing positive things in the world.
Yes, they can do that. So you're stating as a necessity, right? So if Islam did not exist, would people believe that like unaliving innocent people is still a good thing and they shouldn't do that? Like what is the specific thing?
That would still happen. That would still happen. The US has a bunch of people on death row that are innocent, and sometimes they get pardoned afterwards. So that has nothing to do with Islam.
I'm not stating it happens. I'm stating whether people believe it should happen.
I don't think anyone believes innocent people should be killed.
Unalived. You got to say unalived, or I'll get banned. That's right.
Unalived.
Yeah. Right. So Islam?
But the definition of innocent changes from.
Hold on. I don't want to shift off the topic. Is Islam necessary for that?
For those people, yes. Not for you and me, because we don't believe in Islam, so it doesn't affect us.
So your claim here is that if Islam never existed, those people would now start believing that it's okay to unalive innocent people.
Those people would grow up in different circumstances under
Okay,
different
then it's
religions
not
and would-
necessary.
Okay, so if you could just stop Islam, just the whole religion just stops existing and has never existed from
Mhm.
now on,
hmm
the world would still spin, nothing would change.
Right, so that's not necessary.
No, Islam itself is not necessary. But
Cool.
since that is not a reality, since you can't just take away a core part of society that's been around for
Well,
thousands of
but
years.
but I've already won because your original statement was that it's necessary for some people.
Yes,
You
it
just
is
you just said
necessary
it.
for
You
those
just
people.
said you just said
The-
it's not necessary. So,
No, it's necessary for the people that believe that it is real.
but that's
The
not. You
people
just
that
state. You
believe
just
that a
stated.
certain
You
religion
just
is
hold
real.
on. You're creating a paradox. You're saying it's necessary and not necessary. Which one is it?
It isn't inherently necessary. No religion itself is inherently necessary, but the type of person that follows religion needs a higher purpose
okay,
to follow. And those people
But hold on.
that
You're saying it's
happen to
not
believe in
necessary. Then you're
Islam-
saying they need. That means
So
that's necessary.
I said no specific religion is necessary.
Okay,
Not
so
any
there's-
single one needs to be, but
sure,
a thing
fine,
to
fine.
follow needs.
Even if I concede that, which I don't believe, but I don't want to get into the argument about Christianity, right? I can concede that no religion is necessary. Still, no good reason to be a Muslim.
The thing is, we can't really change what we believe. I stopped believing in God
Yes, you can.
when I was 13. You still
abs-
believe in God.
You absolutely
And
can.
I couldn't change your mind.
You absolutely can.
You
change
couldn't
what
change
you
my
believe.
mind.
You absolutely can
Sorry?
change what you believe.
Not willingly.
Yes, you
Belief
can.
is something inherent.
No.
You believe or you don't believe. Just
No.
waking up and saying, from now on, I will believe. You can follow a
Okay,
religion.
so I'll give you
because
an
decide to.
example on how you can change your belief. Let's say that you were born inside a building and you've never seen the outdoors, right? Never
Yes.
once. So you have no idea what the sky looks like. So you don't believe the sky is blue. And then one day you were given access to go outside and you walk outside and you look up at the sky and you see it's blue. You've now conducted an investigative method in which led you to change your beliefs.
Yes, but it's not a thing of one day just suddenly deciding. That is external
Correct.
input changing what you believe because you have evidence.
Correct.
Since,
but you're
I am
but when
not
you make it
religious,
but when
I
you
don't
make
see
it
evidence for any religion.
But when you make a
there will never
statement,
be such
hold
a thing.
on. But when you make a statement that you cannot change what you believe, it's an escape, right? You're basically saying, hey, people just believe what they believe and there's nothing you can do about it. No, you can investigate your beliefs and see if they hold up. And you can change what you believe. Now, obviously, you can't just wake up one day and believe that, hey, this is true because you chose to. You have to do the due diligence. But you can change what you believe.
To a certain extent, you can change what you believe, but there is limits. Like getting a person that always has believed in a higher power not to is very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. A lot of people do exit church. Like I did believe in God.
What are you talking about?
before I was
The
13.
deconstruction movement is growing and strong. People leave their faith all the time.
But people like that happens through like
Investigation.
stimuli from the outside. It doesn't happen just out of nowhere. So a person.
Yes, I already stated that it doesn't happen out of nowhere. It has to happen through investigation.
So coming back to the actual argument here about like Muslims, if you live in a country where being Muslim is the normal thing to do, right? Like everybody around them is Muslim. That's the upbringing they had. That's the things that like just were standard, the norm for them. Now they are the kind of person that doesn't do good because they're a good person. They do good because they fear of retribution in an afterlife or whatever else they believe in, right? Those things that get motivated through their religion, not through their own goodness or whatever. A lot of Catholics or
I get your argument.
Right?
You already agreed. It's not. Hold on. I know your argument, bro.
Do the good.
Bro, you're maddeningly inconsistent. Is it needed?
They need it.
No, is it needed?
It is needed that they are Muslim.
Okay, then it's necessity. So that means that if Islam just vanished and never existed, those people, you're saying all conclusively, would become people who do not have morals.
I'm not saying that.
That is literally what you're saying. You're saying it's a necessity.
No, I'm saying if it just if it vanished and no
Can you
other
define
religion
necessity?
would take its place, then yes.
Can you define necessity?
something that needs to happen, like
That's
something
circular.
that otherwise you can't do without.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
Islam isn't needed.
As I stated before,
Islam's not needed.
Specific religion is needed. If in that case of like Islam just stopped existing and no other religion would take its place, yes, those.
Okay, so
people
are
would
you
become-
stating if there was a world where there was no religion at all and
Yeah.
it was all atheism, people would just revolt to immorality?
Not everybody. I wouldn't. I don't not do now. It's the thing of
But are
which
you
debate-
making the claim that there is a large amount of people that just revolt to immorality because
There are definitely a lot of people. Yes.
Okay, so you're saying religion in itself is necessitated to keep people moral?
Yes, some people. Yes.
Okay, so then you're basically stating that you cannot have morals without religion.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, then why is it that people need religion
Some
to be
people,
moral?
Some people.
Okay, then why
can't
do
have-
people need religion to be moral?
Because not everybody is good. I'm sorry to break it to you. I don't know how old you are that you learn now, but not everybody is a good person.
Good based off what standard?
My personal standard. I think we all have
Okay,
a
your own personal
for what is
standard.
good.
Okay.
Trying not to do harm.
So
onto
basically
others,
what
right?
you're saying is you like some of the morals religion has.
Yes, of course. I think we all do.
Because religion exists, you like it that those. So again, it's not necessary. It's because it's your own subjective. It's your own subjective standard of morality. It's not necessary.
Yeah, no, of course. Like nothing is needed to survive. Like
Sean
other
Bestie
than
came in and
food,
said this guy is why
right?
the EU is being overthrown by Islam. Wrong.
We're not being overthrown by Islam, but
Definitely are. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. So people aren't always all good.
Bro, you just said morality is subjective, which means which means that no religion is necessity because it's all based off your personal subjective preference.
Yes.
So then no religion is necessary for anyone at all.
Technically not for the.
Okay, so then
existence
there
of the
is no
species, it
need
isn't.
for a religion, which means there's still no good reason to be a Muslim.
Okay, so no good reason to be a Muslim is not no necessity to be a Muslim.
But your
That's two different
argument
things, right?
your argument
The
is
good
from necessity.
reason-
Hold on. Oh my God, that's so frustrating. Your argument is built off necessity. That's where you started. Is that people need the religion to be moral. That was your basis of your argument.
Yes.
Now that I've
because my
destroyed that, you're now shifting to the point was like, well, of course we're not talking about needs, right? In general. Which one is it, bro?
No, you're shifting. Wait.
I'm not shifting. I'm literally staying on the topic.
Let me reframe this so you understand what I mean. Maybe it's a language barrier. I don't know.
Not a language barrier. It's
English is my
inconsistency.
third language, so maybe it's just an issue that way. So when I read the question, is Islam needed? Is there a necessity, or is it? What was it? Is it a
There
good
is
thing?
no good reason to be a Muslim.
There is no good reason, right? The good reason for me is to further humanity's overall tendency to be good.
To your
Right?
standard of what good is.
That is a thing. Yes, that is the thing.
Okay,
that
well,
value.
I don't think Islam is good. So now it's just my version versus yours.
Okay, so the people that like would kill each other
Unalive.
if they didn't have a reason to
Unalive, you
like,
gotta
fear
say
God or
unalive.
whatever. Sorry. Unalive each other. Like, you know, the Ten Commandments.
Well, here's a
covered
fact.
that others'
Here's a
wives,
fact. If
et
Islam
cetera, others.
here's a fact. If Islam vanished, a lot less people would be okay with child marriage.
Tell that to the deep south.
I didn't say there wouldn't be no one, right? Your
Yeah,
argument.
but like-
No. Listen. Be honest. Your argument through this whole thing is that some people need religion because when they follow religion, they do less bad things, right?
Yes.
Cool. Well, there's a certain amount of people who follow Islam who do more bad things. And for
Certainly.
example of that is child marriage.
No good reason only needs burden of proof of one good reason. One good reason if a single person doesn't kill somebody because they believe that.
Okay, if a single
they would
person
be
marries a
punished in their
child,
afterlife,
hold on.
that is one good reason.
Hold on. If a single person marries a child, is that a good reason to obliterate Islam?
That is one good reason to obliterate it, but it doesn't mean that it.
Okay,
that
so then
it
they
negates the good
cancel each
reason
other
for-
out. Then there's no
No,
good
they
reason.
don't. No, they
How
don't.
does it not?
Because the premise is there one good reason? And yes, there is at least one good reason.
No,
might
it's not,
be
because
more-
you do not need Islam to do
There
that.
might be more negative reasons, right? There might be more negative things to Islam.
Do you
personally
need
think there's more
Islam?
negative things
Do
to
you
religion
need
than
Islam to have the belief to not unalive people?
No,
Well, then you don't need Islam. Then that's not a good reason to be Muslim.
I don't. You ask
No one
me,
does.
I don't. I don't
No
need
one
any
does.
religion.
No one does. I have
That-
never. Hold on. Can you point to one person in all of history that left religion and decided, you know what, I'm going to start unaliving people now?
I don't know any. Do you
Okay.
know any?
No.
That stopped completely killing people. Sorry, unalive. Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Unaliving people because they found religion. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know any of those
there's a few
people.
people. So, for example, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Did he stop?
Hmm.
Again, apparently too late. So just I don't know any people. That is a bad thing, because like I don't know 8 billion
Well, you're
people.
making an argument that there are people out there that if they didn't have Islam would just be unaliving people.
Yes.
Prove
They
it.
would- in general, religion gives us boundaries. The reason why they are
Prove
laws from
it.
God
Prove it.
or from...
Prove your claim.
Do I have to Google now? Like, do we have some time? Because, look, yes, I do not have receipts right now. And that is not the thing that I'm trying to do.
Well, you're just making vague
Then-
references to the ether with no evidence, like most people do.
I'm giving
And
you
you're stating that
good
people need
reasons
Islam
for
because
there
if
to-
they didn't, they'd be unaliving people. I don't believe you.
I have...
But one thing I do know is that if Islam didn't exist, there'd be a lot less people advocating for child marriage. Because I've met several Muslims, have debated with several Muslims who state they would never do child marriage. And they don't think it's something for them, but they still think it's something that people should be allowed to do because the Prophet Muhammad did it and God said it was good in the Quran.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, sorry, but have you read the Bible? The messed up stuff.
This
that
is
in there?
whataboutism. It's whataboutism. If you want to shift
No,
to
no,
Christianity,
no,
we can do it
no,
as
no,
long as
sorry.
you can.
You
Hold
are
on.
making...
If you want to shift to Christianity, we can do it if you admit there is no good reason to be a Muslim.
I don't. I already proved.
All right,
that
well,
there
then we're
is
not
at least
shifting
one
to
good reason.
Christianity.
Okay, we don't shift to Christianity. The fact is, religion itself gives boundaries.
All right, we're just going for a circle, so I'm going to move on.
Going to
Appreciate
go
you.
beyond those boundaries.
He's just repeating the same thing he just said before. All right, moving on to the next person. Chiraki, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hello, I'm 16 years old.
All right, man. God bless. Have a great day. Mm-hmm. Mahad, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you?
I'm 21.
All right, bro. There's no good reason to be a Muslim. Prove me wrong. Want a taco?
So well, the idea of Christianity that God, that the Father and Jesus both created the universe is an illogical and contradictory idea.
Me. There's no good logical reason to be a Muslim. Everybody that ever comes in the chat. But what about Christianity?
Okay, sorry. Let's go to Christian or Islam then. Sorry, my fault. The Quran is the only book that you can prove that is the same from now to the time that it was revealed.
Okay, so what?
It's a proof that the message is not distorted.
So? Even if that's
So
true,
why-
which I don't think it is, because you have the Hafs and Warsh texts, which are different. But let's say they weren't. Let's say they're exactly the same. So what?
God would preserve his message. So when you have a book,
Well, that's
really,
just an assertion. How do you know that?
how do I know that the book is the same?
No. How do you know that God would preserve
According
his
to
message?
the Quran, it says that God has revealed the book and that God will preserve it. One.
That's what the Quran
Two-
says. So, but all that proves is you have good scribes.
Okay.
You don't need. Do you
So
need God for
you
something to
want
be perfectly
content-
preserved?
You want to go through content and not necessarily preservation.
But hold on. Do you need God for something to be perfectly preserved?
You don't need God, but
Okay, so then how's that an evidence it's from God?
because see, I can't go to Christianity to compare, but This argument is hard to argue if I can't go to the Bible. So are we okay
What does
with
the
going to
Bible have to do with Islam?
Because in order to prove
Can
why
can
the
can
Quran
is
is
hold on,
correct,
hold on. So are you basically stating that Islam cannot exist without Christianity? That there is no logical
No.
argument of Islam without Christianity?
Okay, then let's just go strictly to Islam then, because every time I've had this debate, it's always versus the Bible.
Right. So basically you're stating that
The
Islam
idea,
cannot
okay,
stand on its own.
I'm gonna change. No, I'm gonna change my presence.
Okay.
The idea of God is coherent in Islam where it's not in any other religion. That's why it's
Coherent doesn't mean it's evidentially true. Something can be logically sound doesn't mean it's evidentially true. So I can give a logical argument that basically states that premise one, planets are drawn towards each other. Premise two, pixies push planets towards each other. Conclusion, pixies is the source of gravity. That's logically sound. That doesn't mean it's evidentially true.
Okay, but it's not a contradictory idea. Whereas you look at other religions, it is. In Islam, it's one God. That's it. Period. He has attributes that are
Why
all
can't
part of
why can't you have multiple gods?
Because if you had multiple almighty gods, one of them wouldn't be almighty because they would need
Why?
power over the other.
Why? Why can't they both be equally powerful?
Because if you had two all-powerful gods, then if one willed something to be, let's say one willed the tree to be green, the other one willed the tree to be
Yeah,
blue.
so because they're both equally good and equally power, they only ever will the same thing because they only ever will the maximally good thing. So therefore, they never
No,
disagree.
but that like I'm gonna give an example from Christianity just to.
But hold on. What is wrong with my premise? Right? You have two maximally good gods that have the maximally amount of power, and because they're maximally good, they only ever choose the most good thing. So therefore, they never argue.
It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Like
Why?
you can't have. Why they would at some point? There's always going to be a difference of will.
Why?
Or they're always going to try to prove that one God is more powerful than the other.
Why? That's pride. Are you saying God would be proud? Because
Yes,
if God is
would be
hold on.
proud. God is
You're
the
saying
only one that has the right to be proud.
You're saying pride's not a sin in your eyes?
For humans, yes, but not for God. Is all powerful. He's the only one that's allowed to have pride.
So God is going to be proud and prideful and walk around flexing on people just because he's the
He doesn't
G?
have to flex when you're.
Well, that's
mightiest.
humility.
No,
that's not pride.
God is the only one who has a right to pride.
So
because
you're
everything that
you're
he has
basically
is from
stating,
him.
hold on, you're basically stating two all good gods would look at each other and go, "I'm better than you."
Yes, because
Why?
you can't have two all good gods.
Why would they
do
do
all
that?
Powerful gods.
Why would they do that?
Because God, if you have an all-powerful God or two all-powerful beings, then they can't coexist together. You can't.
You're just making
impossible. It's a
statements.
fallacy.
Why? Give me the fallacious argument. Give me the fallacy.
Because if you have two almighty gods that both claim to be all-powerful,
Mm-hmm.
then one of them is going to try. One of them has to be more powerful than the other. Otherwise,
Why?
there-
You're
there's
just
gonna be a
you're just
perpetual-
stating that one has to be more powerful than the other. Why?
Because because if two all-powerful beings will something differently,
They don't
Then
will
it's
anything
conflict.
different because they're both maximally good. So therefore, they only picks the
you're saying they
maximally
don't
good
will any
thing.
different. Where is that coming from?
Because they're both maximally good. So therefore, they only ever picks the best choice.
Okay, but when you have two different beings, like for example, this tree example, what is the benefit and harm of the tree being green versus blue?
I don't know. God would know though.
Okay. But I don't understand where you're getting this argument of they are
I'm
gonna
not
will.
getting it from anywhere. It's not evidential. It's logical.
Yeah, but if there is no benefit or harm to a decision,
Things don't
they
have
will
to have
different
benefit or
things.
harm. Not everything has to have a benefit or harm. Some things
but
are
if you're
just
saying
ad hoc.
if you're saying all good, then God would will the good. But if there's no benefit or harm and there's two separate wills, what happens?
You're stating for one that okay. Hold on. Say that again. Let me make sure I heard you right.
I'm saying that if a decision, for example, a tree being green versus a tree being blue, does not affect anything.
I don't know if it doesn't affect anything.
No, but that decision wouldn't change anything, right? God
I
has
don't know
if
that.
one if
Possibly
you're
it
saying
does.
two
Maybe
gods,
maybe if trees were blue, more people would end up becoming serial
okay,
killers.
let's just go hypothetical then. Why what would happen?
I don't know. But just because you're saying that God is going to have preference. Are you saying that God made trees green because he prefers the color green? Is that your claim
I mean,
here?
listen, I don't know why, but I'm saying this is hypothetical. I'm saying that this decision that God made, if there's two all-powerful gods and they
Mhm.
both have different wills, who wins?
They
Because
don't. That's my
every
point. They don't have
iteration,
different wills.
every iteration,
Hold on,
including
hold on.
Christianity, has said that they have
My
different
whole
wills.
argument is they don't have different wills. They have one will because they're maximally
Okay,
good.
what I'm telling you is in reality, that's never happened. Including Christianity, there's always been separate wills.
Completely irrelevant. It's logically sound.
It's not, and there's no
Then what's the
iteration that you can
contradiction?
point to. The I don't need to point out a contradiction in an idea. What I'm saying
Yes,
is
you
that there's
do.
no iteration in human existence that can prove what you're saying.
Yeah, okay,
Because
ants.
everything you're saying is hypothetical.
Ants. All ants share the will of the queen.
Okay, but that's different. You're
Bees.
saying
All
two
bees
almighty
share the will
gods
of the
with two
queen.
separate wills.
You said there's never a case where two different things have the
But
same will.
ants following a queen is different than two almighty gods having their own wills.
But you just asked for an example where that happens, and I gave it to you. Now you're saying it's not good enough.
No, I'm saying give me an example where there's three beings with three different wills that agree that all come to the same conclusion, or any being. not
Three beings? Okay, ants.
No. But ants don't have their own will. They all follow the will of the queen.
So they're different
This has
beings.
nothing to do with two.
Hold
different
on.
gods with two
Is
different
the
wills.
worker ant the same being as the queen ant?
No. It's irrelevant. What I'm saying is that the worker ants don't have.
Why
their
is it
own will.
irrelevant? Correct. Okay, so we have two powerful gods that have one will. What's the issue?
Then they're one god. There's not two gods then. It's not two different.
So hold on. If two different persons shared one will, they'd be one god.
Yes, but there's
Oh,
no.
what if
proof of
there's
that
three
anywhere.
persons that shared one will? Would they be one god?
If we're talking about Christianity, that doesn't.
I'm just asking. If there are three persons shared one will, would there be one god?
If they shared one will, one nature, one everything, then yes.
Hmm.
But there's no manifestation of that anywhere in the world.
Ants.
No, but ants don't have their own will. They all have the will of the queen. Like you're laughing, but that what your example makes no sense.
It makes. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Show me the contradiction.
Ants don't have their own will. They all follow the will of the queen.
Okay.
Whereas two separate persons or two separate gods have two separate wills. That's what I'm saying.
Why? Why do they have to have two? So why can't they have one will?
Because otherwise there wouldn't be why would you need two gods then?
It's not about necessity. Why isn't that just a state of what
Why
it
would
is?
you have two gods if two?
Wait, it's not about
two
necessity.
beings-
What it just could be a brute fact.
No, but if you have two,
Not everything has to be
all-powerful-
necessity, bro. It could just be brute fact.
Okay, but if you have two all-powerful, proud, all-knowing gods.
They share one will. We already concluded that.
No, I mean you asked a question of if they had it, then they would be one. But there's no example of that ever happening.
Doesn't matter if there is. That's completely irrelevant.
No, but what's the point of talking?
Your
about
whole
hypotheticals if
your
there's
whole
no-
argument. Hold on. Your whole argument is that Islam is true because we believe in one God.
Yes,
Okay,
because we believe in one non-contradictory God.
So what? Show me the evidence of like one thing.
One thing, what?
Yeah, go ahead. Show me the evidence of one thing. Because your whole argument is that it's never happened in history. There's no evidence of things, multiple things sharing a will and being ultimately good. Well, okay, just show me evidence of just one thing.
Of one alone thing.
One alone thing. Go ahead, show me.
In what context? Because I can
In
just say
any
the universe.
context.
The universe. There's only one.
The universe is made up of parts. It's made up of galaxies, suns, planets, moons, stars.
Give me 1 second. Someone just rang my doorbell.
Pizza's here. Did I tell you guys I got demonetized for playing the clown music? So I got to remove that now so I don't actually do it again.
Okay. So there is no example of just one thing. You
Okay.
can't
So
have
then why is
one
God?
thing
So why is that the fact that God is one? So therefore it's true.
because the entire universe is contingent. God is the only necessary thing. So
Yeah,
you
but
can't
your
compare him to
whole
anything.
argument for why God can't be multiple is that we don't see it anywhere. So I just showed you, well, we don't see anywhere where it's just one. So
No,
then for God can't just be
my
one.
whole argument for God not being multiple is that you can't have multiple wills in one
Right.
God.
So our argument is you have multiple gods with one will.
No, but those gods also have separate wills.
No, my argument is there's multiple gods with one will.
Okay, but in practice, that's never happened.
In practice, one has never happened.
It has.
Where?
In our belief in God is that he is one.
That's begging
sole
the
God.
question.
So you want me to prove why he's one sole God?
Your argument is Islam is true is because we believe in one God. So what?
Yes.
That doesn't prove anything. That just shows me what you believe.
Without being, because to find the truth, you have to compare. So I don't know, like we have to see what the different options are. Because if you don't want to accept the preservation idea, you don't want to accept the idea of one God, then there's
I didn't say I didn't accept it. I'm saying it's not evidence towards anything. I believe in one God, but I don't use that as an argument for Christianity. I never go up to anybody and look at them and say, hey, you know why you should be a Christian? It's because we believe in one God. It's a stupid argument.
I disagree with you when you say you believe in one God, but
okay, I tell you what. Name me a single Christian in history that says they believe in multiple gods. Go ahead.
the whole Treaty of Nicaea was about subordination.
Name a single Christian that says they believe in multiple gods.
The early church fathers, when they had the argument between
a single Christian that says they believe in multiple gods.
I don't know who Athanasius, when he had
Athanasius
the idea of
didn't say that.
subordinationism.
No.
He had the idea of subordinationism. The two gods were lower. The Jesus and the Holy Spirit were lower.
That's
than the
not
Father.
multiple gods.
But if they're gods, by definition, they have to be equal.
No, because that's henotheism. That's different. That's not saying there's big case G gods and multiple of them. There's lowercase g gods, subordinate. These would be angels, just different words used.
So those gods are dependent on the Father.
That's the heresies, yes. So name me a Christian that says they believe in multiple gods.
Isn't it that the Son is eternally begotten?
Just name a Christian. Just name a Christian.
Bro, the idea of Christianity.
Okay,
the whole idea is multiple gods.
The only people who have ever said that Christians believe in multiple gods are Muslims. So that's your argument towards us. You don't get to tell us what we believe. So now what you're trying to do is shift the burden again to Christianity again, I've showed you that there's no argument for Islam.
I get what you're trying to say, but every argument that I put forward, you've said, so what?
Yeah, so what?
That's
like you're just saying, oh, we believe in one God. Okay, cool. Congratulations. Here's a medal.
We have one non-contradictory idea of God, but no other religion has.
Well, I disagree. It's non-contradictory.
Okay, what's your proof that it's not contradictory?
Well, I'm just going to grant that it isn't and say, so what?
No, there's no other belief that has that.
So
we could go into morals, we could go into all of these things, but your answer is just going to be so what? So then what's the point? Like you're on here to debate people.
It's ad hoc and arbitrary. Like I can make vague statements and say that's true. Christianity is one of the most influenced religions in the world, therefore it's true.
Okay, I don't know what it is what kind of evidence you want to prove that.
Well, hold on. Is my argument proof of Christianity being true? It's the most influential religion in the world.
Okay, can I ask you just for my clarification?
Hold on. Answer my question. Is it okay? Is that an argument for Christianity being true? Okay, then why is it you stating one God, therefore Islam is true?
Can I ask you, if I was to ask you the same thing, what would your answer be? That's for my because
you want to shift the burden to Christianity.
I'd say
the answer for the reason Christianity being true is the evidence of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Okay. I'm not going to shift the burden, But so what? Like I could just do the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fine. Okay, so what? If Jesus Christ is the author and authority over life, and he can die and raise himself from again from the dead, and he also claimed to be God, what does that mean?
Okay. I see what you're saying. So
Right.
let me. I'm gonna shift my premise again, and I apologize.
No, you're good.
Islam is the only religion that has prophecies that have not been falsified.
Okay, show me one.
The barefooted Bedouin will compete to build the highest skyscrapers.
The what?
The barefooted Bedouin will compete to build the tallest skyscrapers.
What does that even mean?
If you look at the Gulf states right now, right? If you look back 50, 100 years, these people were all Bedouins.
What is
They're
a
all
Bedouin?
barefoot Bedouins. Travelers, people who they don't have a stationary home. They travel around with their animals.
Okay. Who in history has not tried to build tall buildings?
No. But that's half of it. The other half of it is that there's another narration saying that these people will get their money because the earth will spill out its riches, like it'll vomit out its riches.
So everybody got
oil.
their money from Earth's resources.
But sure, listen, this is just one.
Well,
Let's
hold on. Just name a culture that didn't get their money from Earth's resources.
No. It's specifically talking about oil. But I'm gonna go more.
Oh, okay.
Listen, I grant you that if you take just single one, you could argue that.
Well, I don't think you collective of cryptic messages makes a coherent argument.
Sure, I agree. Let's not go cryptic. Another one is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told a companion that he would have the crown of the Persian king on him at a time where these Muslims, they had nothing in Mecca, and that ended up happening. He told them that they would conquer Hind, and that would happen.
Cool.
Right? India.
John Jones said that he would have the UFC championship belt around his waist, and he did. Does that make him a prophet?
But your argument is that one sole prophecy can't make it true.
You haven't given me any prophecy.
I've given you, these are 4 different ones.
I don't grant your first 3.
Okay, sure. Let's go to
and
the Quran.
And even if I was to grant the 4th, right, then that makes John Jones a prophet.
No,
Pira Sipa Saved came in 499 says, just like the human is made up of body, soul, and spirit, the human is still one. I am not 3 humans. We are made in the image of God. I don't necessarily agree with an analogy, but I understand what you're saying. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so let's look at the Quran then. You look at Surah Al-Rum, where it prophesies that the battle between the Romans and the Persians. You can pull it up.
Yeah, that would happen within 3 to 9 years, so God couldn't get it specific.
Okay, in other parts of the Quran, God says that He gives specific verses and He gives vague verses. Those who want to take the vague verses,
God's prophecy was that, hey, this could happen in 3 to 9 years. And also doesn't state, it just says that Persia is going to have lose a battle. So I'm going to say this. If the United States lose a battle in the Near East within the next 1 to 10 years, I'm a prophet of God.
No, but the idea isn't just taking one single prophecy.
Hold on.
You have to take all of them.
Hold on. Take what I said.
And you still haven't disproved.
Am I a prophet? Am I a prophet of God if I say that?
No.
Why not?
Because one shot in the dark does not make you a prophet.
Well, none of these shots in the darks make him a prophet.
But if you have multiple prophecies or multiple predictions of the future that all come true,
this is not. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Rome was constantly in battle, and actually it doesn't say Persia, it says Rome, right?
Okay.
Rome was constantly in battle.
You want
and
another
lost
one? We can do another one.
You haven't given me one, so don't say another one.
Okay, Surah Lahab, which says that the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, will be in the fire. All he had to do to disprove that was to say that I'm Muslim, and that whole religion would have been disproved. He never did it.
How's that a prophecy?
Saying in the surah, in the chapter, it says that he will be in the hellfire, meaning that he will never become Muslim. So all he had to do, and he had 9 years to do this, was say, I'm Muslim.
Okay. How's that a prophecy?
Okay, you're taking all of these singular...
Hold on, chat. I will never be a Muslim.
Okay.
Am I a prophet?
That's fine. No, but that's
hold on, Jordan. The Pope will never be a Muslim. Jordan Travis will never be a Muslim. Abraham will never be a Muslim. Nick will never be a Muslim.
No, but if
Inspiring
I said
Philosophy
that
will never
it's-
be a Muslim. God Logic will never be a Muslim. David Wood will never be a Muslim. Bro, I just did like 10. I just did, because your argument is a collective of them that are true. If all I have
And
to
none
do
of
now
them
to
are
be
false.
proven, all I have to do now to be proven is any one of those people I just mentioned have to become Muslim, and I'll be disproven as a prophet of God.
No, but the idea isn't just to take one. You're taking every single one of these as singular. I'm saying that you
Well,
can't.
your
disprove
argument,
any of them.
your argument is if it's collective, then it makes him a prophet of God. So I just gave you 10 prophecies, right? I stated that that if the United States loses a battle in the Near East 1 to 10 years, and then I stated like 9 people will never claim that they're a Muslim. So if any of those, any of that comes to fruition, I am now a prophet of God. In 10 years, you should follow my religion of Glibligler.
What I'm saying is that none of these prophecies have been disproven.
Right. So if none of my prophecy is disproven within 10 years, you will join my religion of Glibligler.
No, because
Why
that's
not?
not the sole argument. That's not the sole reason that someone should be Muslim.
Then it's not a reason.
No. A reason doesn't have to be the only reason. A reason can be a reason.
So God needs a collective of little bits and pieces?
No.
He's going to give
multiple
vague
reasons to
prophecies that
believe.
are extremely cryptic?
What is cryptic about barefooted Bedouins competing to build skyscrapers? And the
Because
earth
everybody
puking out
competed. Because
its
everybody.
riches?
Because everybody competed to build skyscrapers.
No,
and
but this
everybody
was
got
at
the
a time,
resources.
and this is
And
at a time-
everybody got the resources from the earth.
But this is at a time where they had nothing. Like I don't
That's
know how to
bullshit.
explain
That's
that they
bullshit.
had
That's
nothing.
not a time where they didn't have nothing. They had science. They had academics. They had doctorship.
No, but
they had
1400
education.
years ago,
Yeah,
the-
dude, they're
a
not.
prophet that
1400
couldn't
years
read or
ago.
write-
1400 years ago, they weren't walking around caves with clubs going "Ooga booga dooga dooga." That's not what was happening, bro.
No, I agree with you. But
The best
1400 years
philosophers in
ago-
the world existed before Muhammad.
Okay, what I'm saying is that 1400 years ago, an illiterate man made prophecies that none of them have been disproven. Now you
What's
can
illiterate have to? Most people from back then were illiterate. That doesn't mean they were stupid and uneducated.
What I'm saying is that if you
What does
can't
illiterate
disprove
have to do with
any
it?
of the hundreds of prophecies
What
that
does
have come out,
illiterate have to do with it?
it's just adding to the fact that he couldn't
Doesn't add
have
to
read
anything.
about other things.
He couldn't have what?
He couldn't read about how these like he
Well,
couldn't, he couldn't have
simply
taught
do not
himself knowledge.
then you simply do not understand history, because 90% of people didn't get their information from reading. They got it from what were they called? Legend keeper, not legend keepers, myth keeper, or something keepers, or whatever they were called, who were the people who read it and would go around and recite the stories to the communities. That was their job.
Okay, but Arabia at that time was kind of excluded from the world. But it's
Prove
irrelevant.
it.
This is all
because
irrelevant.
I could
know
show
what?
you how I could show you how I could show you how
grant you the
hold on,
illiterate part
hold on,
was
hold on.
irrelevant.
I could show you hadiths where Muhammad met with Christians.
Okay, you know what? The illiterate part irrelevant. If that's
All
if
of it's
that's,
been irrelevant.
no. No, it hasn't, because you
Yes, it
still have not
has.
disproven it. If you
I don't need to
the
disprove. I
religion-
don't need to disprove vague references to things. None of it's
but
convincing.
hundreds of prophecies, and not one has been false.
You gave me 4, right, that are super vague and cryptic and can be applied to anybody.
So you want how many? How many do you want? What is your?
I want one that's actually a prophecy.
Okay, this Lahab one, this one that I'm talking about, with the uncle of the Prophet, peace be upon him. If you were a staunch enemy, this person came up to him and offered him everything: money, women, power, everything. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said no. Now, if you're a staunch enemy, so much so that your wife puts nails outside of his door when he goes out, and there is a prophecy, and for 9 years, all you can say is, or if a prophecy comes out that says you will be in the hellfire, you'll never be Muslim, and all you have to say is I'm Muslim. You don't even have to mean it. Wouldn't you?
How does that logically fall? Because you're saying, hold on, if he would have come out and said, okay, I'm a Muslim, people wouldn't be like, okay, prove it.
It would have, bro. It would have destroyed the religion, because everyone was already against it.
Hold on. Nobody would have said, okay, prove it.
No, have you?
No,
read,
so
have you read the
all
story?
he had to say is, I'm Muslim. You just had to
Yes,
say
have
that
you
word,
read- have
and
you
then
read
he
the
could go
story?
off and lived whatever he want, and everybody would have been like, fine.
Have
And
you
hold on,
read
but
the
hold on. The
story?
listen to me. The prophecy that you gave was that he would
Yes.
never become a Muslim and he was destined for hellfire. Not that he would
Yes.
never say he's a Muslim. That wouldn't disprove it.
No.
How would him saying, hold on, how would him saying I'm a Muslim disprove the prophecy?
Okay. At a time where the entire city was looking for a reason to I don't even
You're
know
not
what
answering the
word is, but
question.
they were
How
trying
would
not to
him
believe
saying, how would him saying I'm a Muslim disprove the prophecy?
because then nobody would believe him. Because every person that became Muslim was being tortured. They had no reason to stay Muslim. So if they
Okay, so
found a
this
reason to
this guy, hold on, this guy says I'm a Muslim and then never actually
Mhm.
practices any Muslim practices. Everybody just keep believing him and then return on Muhammad.
at that point in time, the prayer wasn't really mandated. So yeah.
I don't believe you.
Okay, you don't have to believe me. That's what I'm saying. Is every argument I'm giving you, you're saying, so what? I don't believe you.
Because they're
That, like,
stupid arguments.
They're really not.
They really are. Chat, are they stupid arguments?
Like if I give you prophecies that have never been falsified, then you can't. And
I don't care to falsify them because they're so. I don't care to falsify them because they're so vague and cryptic and out in the blue that I could apply it to anything. Rome will lose a battle in 3 to 9 years. Prophecy. Okay, well, United States is going to lose a battle in 1 to 10 years.
His
Prophecy.
religion would spread from the east to the west. If you look at the entire map of Muslims, it's all east to west. Farther north and south you go, it kind of gets displaced.
That's not a prophecy. That's bragging. That's more. If that's the case, Conor McGregor is a prophet because everything Conor McGregor said he was going to do came to fruition. He said, okay, so Conor McGregor specifically said that he was going to knock out Jose Aldo with that left punch. He said, I seen his hand twitching. He's going to come in. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to do it. And he knocked him out within 6 seconds. Is Conor McGregor a prophet?
No, but okay, you know what? It's okay. I don't really understand what it is that I can provide you as evidence if
Actual evidence.
like and this is for everyone in the chat too. If you want to disprove it, like look at all the prophecies and then we can come back.
I
Like,
have.
I don't know. Then find which one isn't what am I saying that's wrong?
Okay, I'll disprove a
prophecy.
prophecy. The Quran says that iron will rain down from the sky. True, it's a true thing. But here's the thing: Egypt talked about that 2,000 years before the Quran.
That doesn't disprove it.
That does disprove it because it shows that they got their
No.
information from somewhere else, and it's not
No.
from God. Another thing, they get embryology.
It also
wrong.
says that
Another
universe
thing,
is created
you asked me to disprove some prophecies. Let me do it. I've let you go through 100 of them trying to prove them. Let me disprove them. That's what you asked, right? Another thing, let me disprove them.
Give me 1 second.
All right, I'm gonna mute
When
you.
say
Watch this. Boom. All right. So it gets embryology wrong, right? It says that it stays in a clinging place and it doesn't move. That's not true because the conception happens in the fallopian tubes. It moves down the fallopian tubes and then it clings to the wall. It also says that bone comes from flesh. Bone does not come from flesh. That's another thing that it gets wrong. Another thing that the Quran gets wrong, it says that the sun sets in a muddy puddle. Doesn't set in a muddy puddle. Another thing that the Quran gets wrong, it says that sperm comes from the rib bone, between the rib bone and the spine. That's where it says sperm comes from. It doesn't come from those places. So that's another thing that the Quran gets wrong. So these are a bunch of prophecies that the Quran gets wrong.
Am I muted?
Oh, and then it also says that the sun orbits the Earth. Yes, now
Am
you're
I
unmuted.
muted?
Yep.
Okay. As far as for example, the embryology one, there's a debate online by Muhammad Hijab. I would recommend
Muhammad
watching it.
Hijab is a known liar. I wouldn't trust anything Muhammad Hijab said.
Or another brother named his YouTube channel is Muslim Lantern. They go over it. 2, this sun sets in a muddy puddle. Can you pull it up? Do you have a way of pulling up the?
I'll just concede I'm wrong on that. Prove the other ones.
Okay, the sperm one.
Mhm.
If I said is there a head between your shoulders? Is it literally between your shoulders or is there a vertical distance?
It's literally between my shoulders.
No, but is it X, Y, Z axis? Every axis, is it right between your shoulders?
Yeah.
So your head is at the same Y height as your shoulders.
No.
So it's not in between literally, it's in between as in the left and the right.
It is literally between my shoulders.
Okay, but when it says the sperm comes from between the rib and the spine, it's between those two things, but the same way that your head is between your shoulders,
But it's not.
between those two.
Sperm comes from the balls. You know this, right? The balls are
Yes,
nowhere
but
near the rib and the spine.
if you were to stand straight up, is it between your rib and your spine?
No.
Okay, I don't know how I can convince you, but if you stand up,
You'll never
your
convince me
ribs,
that my balls are between my ribs and my spine.
not vertically, but from the left and the right, they are.
Not even left and right.
Yes.
Because my balls are below my spine.
Yes, below. The same way that your head is
Right.
above your shoulders.
But it's not between my shoulder, in between. Right?
No, but
hold on. Rib, spine. Explain to me how this is in between those two things.
Your head is between your shoulders, not
Yes.
on the y-axis, but on the x-axis.
Yes. Show me how is this between my rib and my spine on the x-axis? Go ahead.
It's behind your rib, in front of your spine.
So your argument is that because the rib and spine, that is in between.
Yes, because it's not factually wrong.
Have you ever done an IQ test?
Yeah, brother.
Did
But
you
it's okay, it's
did you
okay.
like did you
I
like
gotta
break a
go.
did you ever
I'm
did you
feeling
break a
like
record for like how low or what?
I did actually. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna head out, but I don't really know what kind of evidence you're looking for, but I'm gonna head out, and I hope you guys have a good day.
All right, God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, a miracle from God. God himself comes down and gives us a prophecy. The sperm comes between the rib bone and the spine. Prophecy from God, everyone. Prophecy from God. I got 20 more minutes. Santos came in $4.99. Bro unlocked premium testicle location. Callie, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi. Oh, is it me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Good, man. Just how old are you?
I'm good.
How
so-
old are you?
Oh, 26.
All right, bro. Sorry. There's no good reason to be Muslim. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Somebody said, okay, the IQ testing was just bullying. I agree with you on theology, but that was low. Sometimes bullying is necessary, guys. Sometimes a little bit of bullying is what is needed to hopefully push people out of the idiocracy. All right, bro. Go ahead.
What does it mean to be good to you?
To me, it's to be in unison with God's will.
What is God's will?
Well, he has different wills in a lot of different areas. Hey, baby. A Christian said he made me laugh for $2. And then Gabriel came in $2, says, thank you for standing up. Wasn't sure where my testes are. Yeah, so I'd say good is being in unison with God's will and being in a state of being. So good in itself is being a state of being. The absence of good is the negligence of, not negligence, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, the not having of that.
Okay. I mean, I think the phrase itself, there's no good reason. It's a very specific phrase. It means that if I just provide one reason,
Mm-hmm.
that reason being good means I could just say not killing.
Yeah. When you're talking about this word good, right? In the context of this word good, meaning like any logical or deductive reasoning. So like anything that actually has logical soundness to it.
Well, there's a logical soundness to it, and because like good is a matter of action, and then what happens after the action, right? So if we're saying the action itself is killing, or let me say not killing.
No, that's not that's not what the word good here is the rhetoric for, right?
Then what is it?
I just told you. It's in talking about like having sound logic or reasoning.
The word good itself, like the meaning, it's
right, but every word has rhetoric based off its context.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not Drax. And for some reason, everybody always wants to come up and argue like we're Drax. You got to look at the context. The context of the word good here is talking about sound reasoning.
So, okay. All right. That's fair. So in the phrase "there's no good reason to be a Muslim," you mean that you want sound reasoning and
Mhm.
logic,
Mhm.
meaning that one good reasoning has to be sound reasoning and logic, right?
It has to be a sound, yeah. It has to be a
Okay.
sound reason
So
on to be Muslim.
okay, so and do you expect this good reasoning to be separate from every other moral hierarchy or
It has
values
nothing to
that
do
are
with morals.
good? Has everything to do with morals.
No,
Yeah, it does.
no.
The whole essence of being good is, or
No.
being a
So
good
again, we're
Muslim,
not Drax, right?
right? But
We're not using only the hyper literal versions of words for every freaking word that we do. And I don't know why everybody always wants to come up and argue those types of things. But if somebody like takes out if I take out the garbage and my wife says good job, it's not a moral thing I've done. It's just I did a good job taking out the garbage.
right,
It's not
but
talking about moral goodness.
if we're focusing on the phrase on to be, because you're being, like, it's a state of being, right? So it's
Right.
a
I keep telling you, this be like the fourth time I've told you, the word good in this context is not talking about morality.
but Muslim is a matter of morality. To be a Muslim is a matter of morality, isn't it? What do you think?
Completely irrelevant. You can make the argument that Islam is the peak standard of morality. So
Well, I
therefore,
didn't.
that's the logical reason. That would be a good reason. But that doesn't mean
Well,
that
I
the
didn't.
word good
I haven't said
in
that
the
yet.
sentence is talking about morality.
Okay, so um, if you're saying that the sentence "there is no good reason to be Muslim," you're saying that this sentence has nothing to do with morality. Is that
I'm
what
not
I'm
going to
getting?
say it again.
Okay. Um, Let me make sure that I understand your point exactly. Your definition of good is that goodness itself has nothing to do with morality. It's a
No. I
and
appreciate your
and,
time.
and
I'm going to jump on to someone else. So thank you.
what?
Brother Doink.
Yes.
What you want, bro?
What? I was listening to that conversation. Why'd you have to Why'd you have to get rid of him?
Because I can't sit up here and explain what the word good means in this sentence for 7 hours.
Yeah, but it's obvious the Muslims don't seem to understand some of these things. So you sometimes have to just bash it over the head. Anyway, I am here because I am genuinely trying to win a taco today.
All right, go for it.
Okay, I have done some research over Islam and all the good things about being a Muslim, and I found some good history points to this. So, everyone listen. It was thousands of years ago, before the dawn of man as we know him, there was a morbidly obese, illiterate man named Mohammed. Police be upon him.
Oh, you're gonna get me banned.
Oh.
I already got a banned account. I don't need a second one.
Because, I mean, I wasn't gonna say anything too bad unless that part was just the bannable offense.
Well, it's not what you're saying. It's how you're saying it.
Oh. Okay. He went to his cave and found it fire. And I think at that point I'll just go ahead and stop there if that's gonna be too much of an issue.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
No
take it
taco
easy,
today.
dude.
God bless.
Take it easy.
Peace. All right, I got no one else in the queue. Thank God. I don't know what I can do, Days. I can't tell if people are smarter in the day or smarter in the night. Did you know that my testicles are between my rib and my spine?
I heard that part. That was quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Technically, it's true. And God is
Like,
God is not precise. God is technical. And technically my rib cage is here. My spine is here. And on the x-axis, it's in between the two. So technically the Earth's core right now is between my butthole and my balls. So if I read in prophecy right now that the Earth's core is between the butthole and the balls, technically I'd be correct. Fruit. We're eating fruit. They can't see it on TikTok or the shorts.
Well, they should just go to the longs.
How long have we been married?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. 2 years and 2 months, in a couple months. What was I going to say? Oh, I gotta teach all the classes tonight.
Oh, why?
Jason's got a cover at one of the other gyms.
Okay.
So, Coach John tonight.
Big Coach John. Four
Huh?
classes.
4 classes. Yep. All right, I think I'm gonna call it, guys. I got no one in the queue. Pretty much 4 o'clock anyways. My time to shut down.
I know life likes attention.
My wife is obsessed with attention. Am I Muslim? No. How do you argue against an atheist who considers God to be a failure and contradicts himself? You can't, I guess. I think we're going to have to go back to night lives.
Why?
It's hard to get people in the queue.
Or is that because of your TikTok?
And they're great. Well, maybe. Maybe it's because of the TikTok. Maybe. What about Muslim claim the moon split in half? What?
You're still getting a lot of views in the day.
But we need people in the queue. We could do reactions. I know people have been asking me to do more reactions. So we could leave the debates. Chat, do you want to do more reactions or debates? Because I've had a few people ask me. I put a poll out recently too on the YouTube. Where's my button? There it is.
Like 73 said.
I do read YouTube.
But
Could do a mix of the two. Yeah, well, I definitely keep the debates, but I can't do both evenly. Like I can't just add more. Like it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, pretty much. But I'd have to take away a day of debates and do reactions, or 2 days of debates, and like got to figure out a formula. Reaction, debate, reaction. Like Monday reaction, Wednesday debate, Friday reaction.
that might be hard.
What do I mean by reactions? Is like watching other content and giving my 2 cents on it. That'd be like reactions. Sig is always doing reactions, then better than watching. Most of what I watch is reactions. I don't actually watch the other videos. I watch how other people react to the videos. He probably doesn't like reading YouTube because we're not as brain dead as TikToks, and call him out on his asterisks. You got me. Newman came in 47 cents. Says, do more reactions video, bro, please. I guess we'll do more reactions. I'll have to figure it out. We'll probably start it next week. We'll do more reactions. I'm doing a reaction this Wednesday, but it won't be on this channel. It'll be on a surprise channel. Stay tuned for that.
Surprise.
Huh?
I said surprise.
I like to see, I would see which days have most engagement in debate, and then They have least engagement, do reactions. Yep, that's a good idea. Pick a theme and delve into it like science and the Quran and teach us through looking all the claims. I could do that in one video. Also, David Wood's done it. Just go watch everything David Wood put out. That's not new territory. I think honestly, like these debates, there's nothing new coming out of it. I haven't had to look at a note in a while. Few people come up with some new stuff, and that's pretty cool when we run into the new stuff. But then they're always like, clip it. If you're like, oh, I don't have an answer to that, but I'll figure it out. Then they clip it. And they're like, I got Big John Steele. Okay. That is so good. We're doing ASMR now.
You're supposed to do that.
Huh? Mm-hmm. All right. Also, once my account gets back on TikTok, we'll get more callers in. It's really hard for people to call on YouTube because they can't click the link on the shorts. And so they have to copy and paste it. When people have to do multiple steps, they check out. What are you doing?
Somebody wants Brit ASMR. He's right there. Can he move? I can see him. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing new. All right, guys. Do a flip. No. Our Father is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the lives. Thank you for the people that you brought in. Lord, I ask that you use this platform to draw people into your kingdom, and I ask that you bless everybody we spoke to, even those that came against us, and everyone in the chat as well. Give us all opportunities to be more Christ-like and to share the gospel. Forgive us of our sins and continue to walk with us. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah. All right, guys, you know what to do. Go follow me on all platforms. Links in the bio. I'm going to end it on TikTok. We'll hang out on YouTube for about 5 or 10 more minutes. So if you guys want to hang out, come over to YouTube. Link is in the bio. And if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe. We put out content Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as you've been hearing. And if you want to support me, support my ministry, you could do so on Patreon. I think I already said that. Patreon. Money. God bless. Have yourself a great day. Mm-hmm. 2 separate streams on YouTube because the horizontal gets me to the audience I already have, and then the vertical introduces me to new audiences. So when people are scrolling, they just stumble upon my channel and they're like, oh, I want to watch that. And then all of a sudden I get more. Money. That's why. God, I'm handsome. Look at me.
Yeah, very handsome.
Thank you. Poor excuse of a mod I am for being this late. You're fired. We were gonna have a meeting. We were talking about giving you a raise, and then you just messed it up.
Not anymore.
No, it's not blasphemy. My setup is insane. Thank you. I nerd out when it comes to this kind of stuff, audio and video, and it's one of the reasons I have so many tech problems is because the setup I got is insane. There's so many areas where something can go wrong. Do that money thing in. It's way too fun. Money. You're going to get twice the pay as zero. Amen. He missed the Burt cam. Oh, I did too. I don't have it set up right now, actually. John, it's not talking about the man's backbone or ribs. Backbone of the man, ribs of the woman. Ibn Kathir. It's still wrong. Even if it is between the backbone of the man and the ribs of the woman, it's still wrong.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense. What are they talking
Listen. Okay, what?
I was thinking about making t-shirts. I want to do Linda Listen, but that's like, it's already a meme, so no one get it. I was thinking about, I thought this would be a cool t-shirt. Unapologetically Christian. I don't know. That was my mindset. You look like you just had a brain aneurysm.
I was thinking about it.
Trolls come out more at night. We might have to shift the lives around. So maybe we'll do like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and do later in Saturday. Do like Tuesday, Thursday reaction videos in the afternoon, and then Saturday debates in the evening. That's not a bad idea, actually. What do you think of that?
I can sit with you sometimes.
Yeah, but the problem is Saturdays are date night.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So like, I don't know. Well, maybe I'll do that thing that everybody keeps telling me to do and get a real job. Not according to the internet.
I love Bert.
We all love Bert.
He's so cute. Can't be gotta get him.
John and Bert go out on a date on Saturday night. All right, guys. I love you all. I'm going to leave now. I got to go to work. God bless. Have a great night. We'll see you all on Wednesday.